This episode of Liquor and Literature covers a book and movie adaptation which contains dated language and ideals that are problematic by today's standards. As hosts, we strive to have fun and educational discussions about the books we cover and do not condone any politically incorrect terms or dated ideology. We strive to discuss these issues in ways that will not alienate or suppress others, but will be covering themes that may not be suitable for children. Also, cuss words are a part of our regular vocabulary and drinks will be had, so keep that in mind if you are sensitive to liquored up loudmouths. Welcome to Liquor and Literature. We are a podcast, a book club, and a happy hour. My name is Lauren.
I'm Amber.
I'm Sam.
And welcome, listeners. Welcome, one and all. If this is your first episode, we're glad you're here. If it's not, then we're glad you're here.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. So yeah, we basically once a month cover a book of our choosing, and we have a drink pairing, a food pairing. We do an author background, we talk about the book, and then we do a movie adaptation of said book. Also, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Liquor Literature Podcast, where you could see all the posts leading up to the episode release, which is always at the end of the month. Also, spoilers, if you didn't know. I don't know why we put this in here. You should know that there's going to be spoilers, but you know, there's going to be spoilers. So just so you know, there's going to be spoilers. This month was my book pick, and I picked Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote. And the reason why I did that is because I love classic movies. It's a thing. And I remember watching this in college, the movie, and I really liked it. Also, who doesn't love Audrey Hepburn? Like, she is the classic definition of an it girl. So yeah, because of all those things, I was like, hey. Also, I really like Truman Capote. I know I read In Cold Blood whenever I was younger, and I liked that. And I hadn't read any of his other books, so I was like, hey, why don't we do a Truman Capote book? Had not read this one in particular, but now we all have.
I've never read any of his stuff.
And I really like his writing. And it's like an easy read, too, because we've done a lot of heavier books. So I was like, this one will be, it's a comedy movie. So it has more comedic factors than like sad factors in it. So that's it. Also, whenever I was little, I really liked the One Hit Wonder by Deep Blue Something, Breakfast at Tiffany's. So I was like, you know what? There you go. 3 reasons why we should cover this book. Truman Capote, Audrey Hepburn, and also the horrible song. Because I re-listened to it today. I'm like, these lyrics are kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
It's saying, I think I remember that one.
I thought, we had a discussion about how I thought it said we both candle lighted, which is just like door dashing.
Oh, yeah.
Or like dine and dash.
Dine and dash, yeah. Ding, ding.
But that's not what that lyric says at all.
No, they don't enunciate well. I think we both kind of liked it. That's what they say. Because if you actually read the lyrics, it's all about this guy that's in a relationship with someone, and like things aren't going well, and they're like, hey, remember we both like Breakfast at Tiffany's? There we go. We got something that we have in common now. Yeah. Everything's fine.
We have something in common still. Please stay with me.
Yeah, exactly. But
Jesus.
I don't know. When I was little, I really liked that song for some reason. So anyway, Breakfast at Tiffany's is the book we are covering this episode. With that, why don't we do our drink pairing?
Oh.
Sam.
Okay. So I did a twofer again, just because I chose a specific drink that apparently Truman Capote actually just made up for the book. I didn't know that. Lowen told me that because I did not actually look into the history of it.
That's okay.
But it's called the White Angel, and it's just like a crackhead martini. It's really close to like like what they call a perfect martini, but it's not exactly the same. But it's literally just 1 part gin, 1 part vodka. So I did 1.5 ounces, which is a normal shot, of Kettle One vodka, because it's really smooth and doesn't burn the shit out of you. So I was like, what am I going to put in here with this that's not going to be like terrible?
The lighter fuel.
Yeah. So I chose the Kettle One for the vodka. And then I chose Drumshambo's gunpowder gin,
Mm-hmm.
and it's made with gunpowder tea and Sardinian citrus and a bunch of other really interesting botanicals.
I've never heard of gunpowder tea.
It's a green tea, and it's usually like in little balls.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I don't know
Little
why.
balls of gunpowder.
I don't know why it's little balls, but it is.
Little balls
So
of tea.
for the White Angel, it's 1.5 ounces of vodka and 1.5 ounces of gin. Your choice. I chose those two. It actually worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I was hesitant. I was like very careful with my sip, and I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty smooth.
I was bold. I took a good sip, but
I do think it's because you picked good liquors. Like if you used like just any random liquor like gin and vodka, I don't think it would be that good.
be
And-
gnarly.
I'm sure we all know that the weak-tongued bitch took a sip and was like,
Yeah. That's another reason why it's probably called the White Angel is if you drink too many of them, you will become a white angel.
You will die.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think I need another one of these, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I never need to put that combination to my lips for the rest of my life.
Of all the things to not put in your mouth, that is one of them.
Yes.
Mhm.
I did like the other thing that Sam made, though.
I was just like, I knew that you would hate the White Angel.
Thank you.
I didn't think I would like it because I don't like martinis. And I thought Lauren would probably like it.
Because I'm a garbage disposal when it comes to alcohol and for food, basically.
Well, you tend to like stronger drinks.
True.
So I was just like, I think she would like it. But I also brought like limes and olive brine just in case it needed to be zhuzhed or something.
I did squeeze some lime or lemon juice into
lemon
it.
juice, yes.
Mhm.
It's not bad by itself. Like I would be able to drink one, but not like anything.
It's
more
a
than
sippy
that.
drink for sure. Unless you're Holly Golightly and you just chug any kind of alcohol. But we will get into that.
Yes.
So the non-alcoholic version of that, though.
Good luck. I got one for the other one, but that one, unless you mix like just NA alcohols, there's no way to reach.
Which I think there are NA vodkas and NA gins. So
yes, there are.
just find whatever NA
That's
gin
not
and vodka
terrible.
you want and have a ball.
Yes. And you can garnish it with a lemon twist or an olive, or you could even do a pearl onion if you really wanted to. But I think a lemon twist would be good with the liquors that I chose for this one. The other drink is not one I made up because I just didn't want to. No. And they had mentioned in the book at one point drinking champagne drinks. I was like, also champagne drinks are kind of fancy, and Holly likes to be fancy, so I wanted it correlated. This one's called a Hugo Spritz. It's my way of making it is a little bit different than the original, I guess, recipe, which I don't give a fuck. And because I was like originally going to make it like an Aperol Spritz, which is a 3-2-1 kind of recipe.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is 2 ounces of Saint Germain liqueur, which is an elderflower liqueur. 2 to 3 ounces of champagne. I ended up using Francis Coppola's Prosecco Rosé because it has a little bit of a color. It makes it a little bit fancier looking.
Yes.
And Prosecco tends to be a bit more dry. And if you don't want to use a rosé, you can use a dry Prosecco compared to a Moscato. If you want more sweet, use a Moscato. I don't care.
I like the fancy little floater you put in it.
Yeah.
What is the little orange slice?
Yeah, it's a little blood orange slice.
It's so
that's
yum.
dehydrated.
Dehydrated floater.
It's a little dehydrated floater.
It's a little raft.
Speaking of fancy floaters. Sorry.
But it also has an ounce of club soda. So you basically just build this drink in the glass. You add some ice to your glass, and it's going to be like a balloon glass, preferably for like a big burgundy glass.
Balloon.
Yes, quite large. So you'll add your 2 ounces of Saint Germain liqueur, 2 to 3 ounces of your sparkling wine or your champagne, and an ounce of club soda. Originally, the Hugo Spritz has mint leaves or a lime for garnish. I just did the blood orange because I like it and I had it, and
It looks good with the color. Like it goes
Yeah.
really well with the color because it's kind of like an orangey color anyway. So
And it really, since they're dehydrated, it really doesn't bring like any extra flavor. It's just kind of fun. And then you just stir it, give it a gentle stir. Well, don't get too crazy because it will fizz up and
get angry at you.
yeah.
Why you doing that?
It turns into a elementary school volcano.
Oh,
So-
fun! You want a science experiment? Then
Yes.
stir away.
That you can drink.
Yes,
You can unclog a toilet with one
it's
of
like
those.
baking soda,
Did you know
right?
that?
Yeah.
Baking soda and
Vinegar.
vinegar.
Oh,
You can unclog a toilet with that.
Speaking of floaters,
Floaters.
Oh.
sorry, bringing it back to
That's
poop.
our gross.
So sorry.
This is not
This
fancy.
is a fancy book.
We are not fancy. We are phonies. So
We are.
We're
Bunch of phonies.
phonies.
But we're real phonies.
We're real phonies.
I just like to drink fancy drinks. I'm not a fancy girl.
Yes.
So there you can do a mocktail with a Hugo Spritz. So you could do 2 ounces of Gifford's non-alcoholic elderflower liqueur. Even though it says it's liqueur, it's not. It's just it's still non-alcoholic.
It's Fakur.
Fakur.
It's Fakur, yes. So you can use 2 to 3 ounces of 1,2 0 sparkling wine, and then an ounce of club soda. And then garnish it with whatever the hell you fucking want. I don't care.
Whatever floater you desire.
You could actually go out, if you have an elderberry bush, go out and get some of them flowers off the bush.
Well, thank you, Sam, for that.
You're
Lovely 2 drinks. I'm almost done with this one.
Oh, the wine's making me warm.
I know, I'm sweating. I'm like, huh?
Me too.
I'm always
I know,
hot.
what?
It's just my
Oof.
natural state of being.
Yeah.
Wine makes
Amber's
me
always
warm.
hot.
Thanks.
Hey.
Why don't we dive into the author background, Amber?
Okie dokie, artichoke. So this is all about Mr. Truman Capote. He was born September 30th, 1924 in New Orleans. His parents were Lily Mae, or Nina, Folk, and Arculus,
Whoa,
yes,
that's a name.
Persons, who divorced when he was 2 years old. So he lived with his elderly aunts and cousins in Monroeville, Alabama until the early 1930s, where he joined his mother and his wealthy stepfather, Jose Joseph Garcia Capote, in New York City.
Wow, that's a name.
Yes.
I honestly had no idea that Capote was a Spanish name.
Me too. I was thinking the same
Yeah,
thing.
no,
Yeah,
me
I would
neither.
think it's Italian or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, Jose though. Yeah.
Capote was openly gay, and his openness about homosexuality and his encouragement for openness in others made him an important player in the realm of gay rights. Newton Arvin, a literature professor with Smith College, was one of his relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But Jack Dunphy was his non-exclusive relationship since the 1950s, and their partnership changed form and continued as a non-sexual one when Capote moved to Palm Springs and began heavily drinking, resulting in frequent quarrels, and they were separated during most of the 1970s. In 1973, he became involved with John O'Shea, who became his official manager and tried to take control of his literary and business interests.
Ooh, that's not good.
No.
No, people were really pissed about that. And then Bob McBride was a computer engineer for IBM and a sculptor who Capote had a relationship with. So those were all of his major relationships, but it sounded like the most significant relationship was with Jack Dunphy.
So he dedicates Breakfast at Tiffany's to Jack
To Jack
Dunphy, which I remember seeing that and be like, I think that was who he was with for
Yeah.
a while. So that makes sense.
During his childhood, he taught himself to read and write before he entered his first year of school. Truman was a close friend of Harper Lee.
Oh.
And To Kill a Mockingbird, which she is the author of, has a character named Dill Harris. So Dill Harris was based on Truman Capote. In 1935, Joseph adopted Truman, and so Truman took his surname. The family settled in Millbrook, Connecticut, and Truman attended private schools. For his career, he was a copy boy in the art department at The New Yorker, and fired after 2 years when he angered Robert Frost.
Oh, I want to know the details
What
of
did you
that.
do?
I don't.
We need some gossip.
I felt like I put that in here, but I don't think I did.
Bring it back to the first poetry episode.
I'll look it up. You continue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, so this goes back to our poetry reading, and you picked Robert Frost, and we're talking about how much of an asshole he is. He's a fucking asshole.
He is a fucking asshole.
Mm-hmm.
So he was mad because, okay, first off, Capote was attending a poetry reading by Robert Frost, reportedly against his doctor's orders because he was feeling unwell. Well, he got sick during the poetry reading and tried to, like, sneak out early. And Robert Frost got so fucking pissed, called him out and said what did he say? That he was the most insulting person, threw the book at him, and then left the stage.
Oh, what a little bitch!
Wow.
Yes. And then
Big
apparently
ego, little
he
man.
went and complained to the New Yorker's editor and got him fired for that.
What
He
a fucko!
sucks.
He
What
does
a
suck.
fucko.
Fuck you,
Jesus.
Robert Frost, you
He
dick.
fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we know that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We side with Capote.
Yeah.
Of course.
Now I think Robert Frost is even more of a dick.
Yes.
He stayed with relatives in Alabama and began writing his first novel. He was called for induction into the armed forces, but he reported he was turned down for everything, including the WACS, which is the Women's Army Corps. He reports he was found to be too neurotic, which is why I would be turned away from anything at this point in my life, I think,
Yeah.
too.
Truman Capote sounds like he would be fun to hang out with.
Right?
He achieved early literary recognition in 1945 after publishing a short story, Miriam, in Mademoiselle magazine. This story also won the O. Henry Memorial Award. His first published novel was Other Voices, Other Rooms in 1948. In the 1950s, he took on Broadway and films, adapting his novella The Grass Harp into a play in 1952, later in 1971 musical, and posthumously a film in 1995, and a musical, House of Flowers, in 1954. He was hired during this time to help write several screenplays and scripts. He wrote several articles for The New Yorker, which became his first book-length nonfiction work, The Muses Are Heard, in 1956. He published Breakfast at Tiffany's, a short novel and 3 stories, in 1958, and this was supposed to be published in Harper's Bazaar, July 1958 issue. But even after changing the language at the request of the publisher, it was decided that they wouldn't run the novella anyway because they were concerned that Tiffany's, a major advertiser, would react negatively. Capote resold the novella to Esquire for its November 1958 issue. Random House published the book shortly after. In 1959, an article ran in the New York Times about the murder of the Clutter family in Holcomb, Kansas.
Oh, here we go.
Capote and Harper Lee traveled and visited the scene of the massacre, and they interviewed individuals in the community. In 1966, Random House published In Cold Blood after it was run in a series in The New Yorker. It was an international bestseller, but he never completed another novel after it. It is suspected that he elaborated several of his works of nonfiction. He was a socialite and was known for his sharp wit and love of gossip.
Mm-hmm.
He was a confidant to Babe Paley and Slim Keith, who he dubbed as Swan, or who he dubbed the Swans.
The Swan.
That's
Yes.
another reason why I picked this is because what the American Horror Story guy that does those like about biographical stuff, he did Capote versus the Swans. It was kind of boring, but I liked it because it's old Hollywood stuff. Again, some fiction in there, but I was like, hey, let's do a Truman Capote book because he seems fun.
Is it the same guy that did Dahmer?
Yes.
Okay.
That guy, Murphy, is his last name.
Don't remember his name.
He just did
No, I don't know.
Ryan Murphy?
Yes, Ryan Murphy.
Ryan?
He did like
He
American
doesn't
Horror
look
Story.
like
He did
a Ryan.
Glee too, but
Yeah.
oh, and Nip Tuck. But he does all the monster
He
things.
was in Nip
and-
Tuck.
No, he directed it. He created Nip Tuck.
Really?
He did Nip Tuck and then Glee and then American Horror Story and then like the monster series and then all these
Oh wow.
the autobiography, because he did another it's not called Versus, it's called like
Wait, it's not the actor that plays Dahmer.
No, he's the director, he's the guy that creates
I know
I
what
was
you're
thinking
talking
it was
about. I love
the
that guy. I
actor.
can't think of his name right now.
Yeah.
Evan Peters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
I
what
love
it is.
But anyway, he did Capote vs. the Swans, and it was entertaining to watch.
Interesting. In 1966, he threw his black and white ball. He became increasingly dependent on drugs and alcohol during this time. He became a social pariah after publishing a social satire entitled Answered Prayers, which appeared in Esquire in 1976. It says in 1976 to 1976.
Ew.
Amber was tired. Depicting friends and foes under thin disguises harshly. His drug and alcohol problems worsened. He spent the late 70s in and out of rehab facilities. During a 1978 on-air interview with Stanley Siegel,
Stanley Siegel!
That's a name.
an extraordinarily intoxicated Capote confessed that he had been awake for 48 hours, and when Siegel asked, "What's going to happen unless you lick this problem of drugs and alcohol?" Capote responded, "The obvious answer is that eventually, I'll kill myself without meaning to." In 1979, he underwent a facelift, lost weight, and experimented with hair transplants. He had his license revoked due to speeding and a hallucination-based seizure in 1980 that required hospitalization, and afterward he became relatively reclusive. He continued to have hallucinations, and a medical scan revealed that his brain mass had perceptibly shrunk.
Oh, he had a brain mass?
No, like his brain mass was shrinking.
Oh, shit.
The
Because
gray
of the
matter.
alcohol
Which
and everything?
I think isn't that a
No.
side effect of alcohol, like
Oh,
extreme
fuck.
alcoholism?
Jesus.
It's called wet brain.
I knew he had a sad
We
ending.
talked about that
but-
last time.
Yeah.
We did,
it's-
yeah.
it's
The
wet
Edgar
brain.
Allan Poe. Yeah. I knew he had a sad ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Posthumously, his book was published in 1986 as Answered Prayers, the unfinished novel. Another novel, Summer Crossing, that Capote wrote in the 1940s, was believed to be lost, was released in 2006. The manuscript for Summer Crossing had been retrieved from the trash by the house sitter back in 1950 at an apartment formerly occupied by Capote.
Aw.
Imagine fucking having that. Just
Wow.
going through and pulling this out of the trash
She ain't a
can.
housekeeper no
I
more.
would faint.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
I hope she
"Oh,
got some good
shit."
money.
Yeah.
She probably did.
Good for her.
August 25th, 1984, he passed away in Bel Air, Los Angeles. The cause of death was liver disease complicated by phlebitis and multiple drug intoxication. He passed away at the home of his friend Joanne Carson, and he was cremated and divided between Jack Dunphy and Joanne Carson, though Dunphy maintained he had received all of the ashes. The ashes Carson had were reported stolen during a Halloween party in 1988, along with $200,000 worth of jewels,
Ooh.
but
that's
were
not good.
returned
Damn.
6 days later,
Oh, okay.
found in a coiled garden hose on the back steps of her home.
Someone had someone was like, I'm sorry.
I have a guilty conscience.
Yeah.
They were reported stolen again when taken to a production of True, but the thief was caught before leaving the theater. Carson bought a crypt at Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles. Dunphy died in 1992, and in 1994, he and Capote's ashes were scattered at Crooked Pond.
Oh.
In 2016, some of Capote's ashes that were previously owned by Joanne Carson were auctioned by Julian's Auctions.
Weird.
I wish I would be as cool to have my ashes auctioned
What
after
a
death.
fucking weird thing to
Wow,
auction.
what a like.
Here we have the remains of a person.
Yeah.
How much do you want to bid?
People love that shit though. People.
It's
It's
kinda
not the weirdest thing that's
strange.
been auctioned off, I'm
no,
sure.
I mean, no.
I have Truman Capote sitting on my mantle.
Yeah.
Fucking weird. That's a weird.
So, before I do, like, completely all that stuff about him and whatnot, the answered prayers, they're in the back of the book, there's like
Mhm.
also by, and there's little blurbs. And I had read that part, and I was like, that kind of sounds very interesting.
Yes, yes.
So I'll just read the little blurb right quick. Although Truman Capote's last novel was unfinished at the time of his death, its surviving portions offer a devastating group portrait of the high and low society of his time, as it follows the career of a writer of uncertain parentage and omnivorous erotic taste. Answered Prayers careens from a louche bar in Tangiers to a banquet at Le Cote Basque, from literary salons to high-priced whorehouses. It takes in calculating beauties and sadistic husbands, along with such real-life supporting characters as Colette, the Duchess of Windsor, Montgomery Clift, and Tallulah Bankhead.
Mm-hmm.
Above all, this malevolently funny book displays Capote at his most relentlessly observant and murderously witty.
I mean, I haven't watched that show that I was talking about in a while, but I'm pretty sure it was all about him writing this. Because the whole versus the Swans was because he was like taking their lives and putting it on paper, and then they got pissed off about it. So I think that's what that one was. Don't quote me because I haven't watched it in like 2-3 years. But
yeah, no,
I think that's basically,
that's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
probably.
He probably had all the gossip.
Yeah, it sounded like he had all the Hollywood gossip, and he
created some of the gossip.
Well, and it sounded like he kind of didn't have very many friends at the end because he got to the point of just...
He was telling everybody's secrets.
Yeah, no one trusted him anymore. It did sound like Jack Dunphy, though. They kept in touch, though, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
At least he had someone at the end.
Yeah.
And the other person that took his ashes.
Joanne.
Yeah, he had 2 friends. That's good.
Yeah.
That's more than some people.
That's true.
All right, let's get into Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yes.
So it takes place in 1940s New York. Shocking, since it's called literally Breakfast at Tiffany's. Let's get into some of the characters. We have the narrator.
Yes.
Who does not have a name.
Except for when she's calling him Fred.
Yeah.
He does have a name.
In the book, or in the movie he does. In the book he does not. Also, at first I was like, I'm pretty sure the narrator's supposed to be Truman Capote. And then the more I read it, the more I'm like, this is Truman Capote. Yeah. Because he's a writer. He looks like Truman Capote. And then there's a part at the end where he says what his birthday is, and he has the same birthday as Truman Capote. So I'm like,
nice.
Okay. I assumed it was him as well, just like interjecting himself into the story.
And then also when I was doing the movie research, there was a fun fact about how Capote like wanted to play him, and then the director and producer convinced him not to. Thank goodness, because he's not an actor. Mm-hmm. But he wanted to play the main guy role, and they were like, no, let's have someone else do
just
that.
Because you wrote yourself into it doesn't mean we need to have you act.
Yes. So we got the narrator, unnamed, although he sometimes is called Fred. Mm-hmm. Then we have Holly or Holiday Golightly.
Yes.
Then we have Joe Bell, who is the bartender of the bar that Holly and the narrator frequent.
Yes.
The first chapter takes place at the bar.
I don't think there are chapters in this, are there?
I mean, segments,
it's just
whatever.
Yeah.
The first segment is whenever they're
hanging out at the bar.
Joe Bell's at the bar at his bar with the narrator, and they're like, "Hey,
I've got something to tell you
about. Did you hear about Mr. Yunioshi? He was like gallivanting around Africa, and he thinks he spotted Holly." Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I guess we should introduce Mr. Yunioshi. So Mr. Yunioshi is one of the neighboring people in the apartment complex that...
So they live in a brownstone.
Brownstone, yeah, like the old school brownstones.
Yeah, so it's 3 different levels.
He's on the tippy top.
Yes, the narrator's on the tippy top, and then Holly is...
on the bottom.
On the bottom.
Well, actually, I think Holly's on the bottom, then the narrator, then Mr. Yunioshi.
I think there's actually 4 levels, because there's
There's the
owner,
one bitch.
The lady.
The landlady.
Yes.
Yeah, the one bitch that doesn't like...
So it's like the landlady type, and then Holly, and then Mr. Yunioshi, and then Fred.
Yeah.
The narrator.
the narrator. And Mr. Yunioshi, it was the one that was gallivanting around Africa, and then comes back and tells Joe Bell that he thinks he saw Holly, which we don't know who Holly is yet.
Yes.
So then we have that whole scene of them being like, wait, was it Holly? Oh, and then we got an interesting conversation between Joe and the narrator about kind of their feelings with Holly, where it's like, I think the narrator called out Joe Bell and was like, well, you loved her. And he's like, no, I didn't really love her, blah, 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 blah.
I have it highlighted.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a special thing with that.
It says, so this is the narrator speaking. It says, It's just that I didn't know you'd been in love with her. Not like that. And he was like, hold on. He said, gripping my wrist. Sure, I loved her, but it wasn't that I wanted to touch her. And he added without smiling, not that I don't think about that side of things, even at my age, and I'll be 67 January 10. It's a peculiar fact, but the older I grow, that side of things seems to be on my mind more and more. I don't remember thinking about it so much even when I was a youngster, and it's every other minute. Maybe the older you grow and the less easy it is to put thought into action, maybe that's why it gets all locked up in your head and becomes a burden. Whenever I read in the paper about an old man disgracing himself, I know it's because of his burden. But I'll never disgrace myself, and I swear it never crossed my mind about Holly. You can love somebody without it being like that. You keep them a stranger who's a friend. Okay.
Usually men are not thinking that way. I gotta say.
Sir, you were trying to cover your ass.
Oh, yeah. He's being very defensive.
Yeah.
So there's actually some, so I was kind of reading some stuff online about some of the characters in this book. And there's actually, I guess, some indication, I didn't read that, but that Joe Bell is actually gay.
See, I would think the narrator was actually gay.
So, and see...
Especially if it's Truman Capote.
Yeah. And so that's actually also suspected. There's several characters in this book, and we'll get into one of them that's also deemed as being gay.
If there's any indication that Joe Bell was gay, it was what you just quoted, where he was like, well, I could have feelings, but I'm not going to actually go and, like, actually touch them. And I'm like, wow, because most men would be like, I'm going to fuck that lady because I have feelings for her.
Well, or is it because he had no chance in hell?
That too. But I'm just saying, what he said is not a typical thing that men say is what I'm saying.
Okay, so maybe...
I still feel like he's trying to, like...
I felt like that too, but I also felt like that with the author, and they said that the author... Or the narrator, excuse me, not the author.
Well,
obviously
both,
Truman
same
Capote
thing.
was gay.
We could just call him Truman.
Okay. But I didn't think that the narrator was gay in the book. I didn't catch it.
I mean, it was very subtle, but I think because I knew that it was him writing himself, I picked up on it, but I mean, it was very subtle.
I didn't necessarily think he was gay, but I felt like he was a little bit more effeminate.
Mm-hmm.
I thought effeminate, but not gay.
Also felt maybe he was just bisexual because he obviously very much loved her. Uh-huh. And I think at one point he kind of was interested in her as in like a romantic thing, but realized that's not going to work. Yeah. And they became friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the movie, they make it more of a romance. But it's not like that so much in the book as much. And it is subtle, which I kind of think is interesting because it's like...
Maybe he just has fucking restraint and he's not a crazy person.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he's actually a gentleman instead of maybe he's just fucking horn dog, you know?
Like a normal actual person.
Yeah. So we have that whole discussion in the bar, and then we flash back to when the narrator meets Holly Golightly. So she had just moved into the brownstone, and he sees her name on the mailbox, and that's how he knows someone moved in. But then she has this way of misplacing her keys and forgetting her keys all the time, so she always buzzes Mr. Yunioshi to let her in, which... If that was me, I'd be like, fuck you, lady. Like, because it's always like in the middle of the night. And so he has to wake up and let her in. And it's like, oh my gosh. So that's how the narrator meets her, is I think she's like, she buzzes him because Mr. Yunioshi's like not home. And so he lets her in and she introduces herself.
That's when you open up your window and pour water on them down below. Stop waking me the fuck up.
Yes. But so here's this quote though. She was shy 2 months of her 19th birthday, so she's pretty young. She's only 19 years old. He buzzes her in, and I think he's like standing from the staircase and like seeing what's going on. She comes in with a dude that's like really drunk and being a really fucking perv, gross guy.
You like me, baby.
He's like, he wants to come in, and she's like, no, I don't want you to come into my apartment. And he's like, but I want to. And she's like, no.
She closes the door on his face, and he's like, hey, baby, let me in, baby. You like me, baby. I'm a liked guy. Didn't I pick up the check 5 people, your friends? I've never seen them before. Don't that give me the right you should like me? You like me, baby. Like, so he's being like, well, I did this, so tit for tat, you should give it up to me. And
it's fucking gross.
Yeah, so he's being really fucking gross. And then he finally decides to go down, like, to leave. And then she pops her head out the door and was like, The next time a girl wants a little powder room change, she called, not teasing at all, "Take my advice, darling. Don't give her 20 cents. So she's also kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm like, I mean, that's
Sure.
the less of the two evils there.
Yeah.
I'm like,
But I like, sure, you paid for my friend's dinner and my dinner, but you still didn't pay enough.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Why don't you leave?
yeah. And if you don't know, like, powder room services back in the day, you could get like hot towels and like perfumes and all sorts of other things in the bathroom of fancy places, because they would always have a bathroom attendant.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
So, but you give them tips.
Yep. So she tells him to fuck off and she leaves. I don't think she even really thanks the narrator for letting her in.
No.
She's kind of an ungrateful little turd sometimes. She's actually pretty insufferable.
She's
very annoying.
That's actually, I think, exactly the term that Ben used
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
describe her was, she is insufferable.
She is.
Yeah, well, we'll get to it, but she, right off the bat, is kind of like a self-absorbed little thing.
Yeah. She has qualities, and she has some that are just like,
Well, and we come to realize why she's acting like the way she is, but it also doesn't justify her actions.
No.
But then you're kind of like, you do have some sympathy for her, but also she doesn't have to be a little twerp.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get to the narrator coming to the conclusion that she's a call girl, because her hours are always late night hours, and she's always with a whole bunch of various different men, and he just I don't think she ever like told him, but he just assumes that she's a call girl. So we fast forward to a couple nights later, and Holly Golightly climbs up the little fire escape and stumbles into his room through the window and just invites herself in.
Starts eating his apples and
Yeah.
Well, this was like,
You almost said, when he said eating his ass, I was like, oh. I was like, no, what kind of you? What chapter are you reading? Are we in a romance
did you
novel?
get into erotic
Yeah. Eating his apple.
well,
I thought it was very rude, because this man is
She was-
obviously poor and she's eating his like only food that he
Well,
has.
and then she like starts talking about his decor.
She wasn't-
Yeah.
She's like insulting his apartment.
he'd been to a movie, come home, gone to bed with a bourbon nightcap. He's just hanging out, basically. And then she's knocking on the fucking window. And she's like, I've got the most terrifying man downstairs. I mean, he's sweet when he isn't drunk, but let him start lapping up the vino and oh God, quel beast. If there's one thing I loathe, it's men who bite. She like pulls her little like robe off of her shoulder
So
to
she can
show it.
Show him that. Oh, he
Show
bit me
the
on
bite.
the shoulder.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's just interesting.
You can tell that she uses her looks to get away with a lot of things.
so
Yes.
much.
Yeah.
And then she's basically like, anyway, is it okay if I just crawl into bed and hang out with you? Can I call you Fred? By the way, you look just like my brother.
Yeah. Yep. And he's like, doesn't even ask for his actual name.
Yeah.
Right?
Starts insulting his decor, everything like that. And she also asked, like, what do you do here all day? And then he kind of tells her, he's like, I'm a writer.
Are you any good? Does anybody buy your stuff?
And he's like, well, I'm just starting out, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And she's like, whiskey and apples go together. Fix me a drink, darling, then you can read me a story yourself. So she's like, give me some food and beverage and read to me. Just demanding. She's a very demanding little thing.
But everyone gives her what she wants. So,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be?
Also, there is a part, like, after she's like, can I call you Fred? Because you remind me of my brother. And he kind of asks about her family, like, her background. And she, like, kind of, like...
She rubs her nose. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's the way she always, like, is, like, people are being too nosy kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is she always rubs her nose, and she doesn't like to talk about her past at all. So she always rubs her nose when she's uncomfortable.
She, like,
you're getting
steers
too
clear.
close.
Yep. So she stays up there that night.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want that dude downstairs to, you know, cause a kerfuffle. The next morning, I think it's the next morning.
It is.
She's
About
like-
Sally Tomato.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I'm late. I need to hop on the train. And he's like, why? And she's like, she kind of explains this whole connection to this mobster called Sally Tomato.
Which is like,
The best mobster name ever.
yeah.
So basically, I think the connection with Sally Tomato was he's a mafia guy, but he got put away for some kind of mafia thing.
Yep, he's in Sing Sing.
Yes, he's in Sing Sing, and his lawyer, his little sleazy lawyer guy, I don't know how he knows of Holly, but he gets in contact with Holly and he's like, hey, how about I pay you to go visit him in jail once a month or every week or something like that.
I never knew him until he was already in jail, but I adore him now. After all, I've been going to see him every Thursday for 7 months, and I think I'd even go if he didn't pay me. I think he just sees a pretty lady regardless and is like, oh, she seems like she'd be easy to take advantage of.
Yeah.
And so
doesn't really know what she's doing.
Yes. So he has her go in and like tell him something about the weather every day. Oh, it's snowing in Florida.
What's the weather report today? And
Yes.
then she goes and has to tell the guy the weather report.
Yes.
It's the lawyer is Mr. O'Shaughnessy.
I really don't think that she thinks of it as like a insider thing. I think she's just like, oh, these old men are telling me to do this, and it's an easy gig. I don't have to have sex with them. I just have to talk to them, and
she gets like
bring
$500 or some shit.
Weather report. So she does it every Thursday. Mm-hmm. Holly and the narrator's relationship kind of grows a little bit. They keep on leaving each other notes in their little mailboxes and stuff like that. And she's like, why don't you come up tomorrow evening? So he's like, okay, I'll do that. So he wanders up to her apartment, or down, or I don't know what they're, whatever.
Down, because he's on top.
And he knocks on the door, and this guy opens the door. OJ, what's his name? Berman. OJ Berman and opens the door because Holly's in the shower. And he basically is questioning the narrator. He's like, what are you doing? Are you one of those ruffians? Why are you here? And he's like, no, I'm like her friend from upstairs.
I'm a neighbor.
I'm not one of the people she pays for.
Yeah.
And he has this very interesting conversation with OJ Berman.
Yes.
Because OJ is basically an agent, a talent agent, who I don't know how he knows Holly, probably through some kind of call girl-esque thing. But he wanted to get her into the movies because she's got a face for pictures.
She's got that certain
je ne sais quoi.
He saw her out at the Santa Anita horse track every day and thought she would be a great like model. And she was out there as some horse jockey's girlfriend.
Yeah. So he picks her up. He's like, honey, I want to put you in pictures. And I think she started doing some act.
She was 15.
I know, it's gross. It gets even grosser.
Yeah.
So I think she does do like some smaller things, but he wants to put her in like a big picture, and she turns him down. And he can't understand why she would want to be not in a movie.
Well, she didn't just turn him down. Like he had the fucking thing set up, and she went to New York, and he's like, "What are you doing there?" And she's like, "I've never been to New York."
Yeah, she just fucking left and went to New York.
The movie was one of Mr. DeVille's.
Mr. DeVille.
There was like this
DeMille's, rather.
She says, I'm in New York because I've never been to New York. I said, get your ass on a plane and get back here. She says, I don't want it. And I said, what's your angle, doll? She says, you gotta want it to be good, and I don't want it. I said, well, what the hell do you want? And she says, when I find out, you'll be the first to know. See what I mean? Horse shit on a platter.
Yeah.
Because he keeps calling her she's a phony, but she's a real phony. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like, you're wrong. She is a phony. But on the other hand, you're right. She isn't a phony because she's a real phony. She believes all this crap she believes. You can't talk her out of it.
Yeah.
He's just a very, like, fast-talking, like, very stereotypical, like, 1950s dude.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? Yeah, see? And so the narrator's kind of getting the point where it's like, oh, it's all a bluff. Like, she's hiding something. I don't know what, but, like, there's obviously a reason why she didn't want to be in pictures. She's hiding from someone or something or whatever, and she's putting on appearances, basically. She's a phony.
Yes.
I want to bring back that word.
Phony.
You're such a phony. All right, so then she finally gets out of the shower, but there's a party that she's hosting. So all these men start showing up at her house, at her apartment.
Can we talk about the cat?
I was about to say, let's talk about the cat.
Yeah, we gotta talk about the cat. Let's talk about the cat,
because that happens in the middle of the party too. And I was like, no, we need to talk about.
So it's this like crazy looking tomcat. It's like an orange cat who it was grim cat with a pirate's cutthroat face. One eye was gluey blind, and the other sparkled with dark deeds. And she never gave it a name.
Yeah,
because she said she didn't own him, and he didn't like belong to her.
She's got commitment issues.
Yes.
A lot. And this is Exhibit A.
That's
Yes.
actually one of my favorite quotes in the book.
But the cat actually seemed to be, he liked her.
He loved her.
Yeah, like.
He like would jump on her. Like I can
Yeah.
see this cat doing this too, of like jumping on her head and just basically like kneading her little like fancy ass bun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like loved her and he'd just like hang
He
out on her
adored her,
shoulders.
yeah.
It's
Yes.
a little inconvenient his not having a name, but I haven't any right to give him one. He'll have to wait until he belongs to somebody. We just sort of took up by the river one day. We don't belong to each other. He's an independent, and so am I. I don't own anything until I know I've found the place where me and things belong together. I'm not quite sure where that is just yet.
Mm-hmm. She's 19 years old. Like,
Yes.
here's the thing. Holly Golightly, when I was reading that, because I'll tell you one thing. We'll get to it in the movie adaptation, but they toned her down a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's played by Audrey Hepburn. She is not as annoying. She's still annoying, but not
I was like,
half as
she's toned
annoying
down a
as
lot,
the
but she's
book.
still
And also,
awful.
she was 30 years old when she played Holly
Mhm.
Golightly. So.
Also, she's like, as a person, she was always more like prim and proper
Yeah.
than like Holly ever was.
Exactly. So whenever I was reading, because I watched the movie way before I read the book, and then when I was reading the book, I'm like, wow, she's very annoying. She seems like someone that I could only put up with for like an hour. Like,
Mhm.
we've all met this person that doesn't have their shit together. I would not trust her to own a cat or any
Yeah.
living thing. She could barely do anything right.
So the thing is, okay, so here's the thing about Holly. I think we all, like you said, know somebody like this,
Yeah.
but they're like,
Especially in their 20s.
Yeah.
yes, but it's this human being that is so non-committal, just doesn't, like, just flies by the seat of their pants,
Mhm.
makes terrible fucking decisions, and you think, probably psych problems there, friend, but okay. And also is so fascinating in a way that they draw you in.
Oh, yeah. They have a way of drawing you in.
And that's what Holly is. She represents this human being that you're so drawn to, and you're like, but you're a fucking mess.
You're a phony.
But they still somehow make
Manage.
it out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
Well, that's the thing.
Like,
They-
things go well for them, and I'm like, how does this
Well,
work?
other
do this?
people, because everyone helps them out. They rely on other people to help them out, and I think that's what happens. Is you grow up and you're like, oh, I've already helped you out so much.
Yes.
You need to figure this out for yourself. But that's how they move on to other people because
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
I
like, you
definitely
gotta grow
know
up,
people like
friend.
this, and I'm like, girl,
Yes.
like you are so annoying, and you do not need a cat. Like,
No.
please give me that cat. I will give him a name.
That poor
Yeah.
cat's gonna go out and hunt for you because it thinks you're too stupid to
Yeah.
feed yourself.
Hey, my cats bring me gifts a lot, and I don't like it because I know they think I'm dumb.
Yep.
Aw. So Holly hosts a party at her apartment, and it says, within the next quarter hour, a stag party had taken over the apartment, several of them in uniform. I counted 2 naval officers and an Air Force colonel, but they were outnumbered by graying arrivals beyond draft status, except for a lack of youth. The guests had no common theme. They seemed strangers among strangers. Indeed, each face on entering had struggled to conceal dismay at seeing others there. So it's basically all men, older men, that thought that they were gonna just hang out with Holly and by herself, and they're like, oh fuck, now all these other dudes are here.
Sausage fest in here.
Also, another reason why I'm like, okay, I think this narrator's gay. He's talking about all these men in uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to move me out.
Oh.
So there's a ruckus party going on. We get introduced to Rusty.
Rusty Trawler.
Let's talk about Rusty. This unfortunate human being.
Ugh.
So,
He's disgusting.
okay. So Rusty's probably gay.
Yes, and other things. He's also a Nazi.
Yes.
Facts.
Yes.
So he has been married like several times. His parents died when he was little. He accused his grandfather of sexually molesting him.
He's had a rough life, but
He
he's
has
also
had
a
a rough life.
horrible blob of a person.
He's like a big baby or
Mhm.
something. Like he just keeps describing him as like he looks like
He's baby Huey.
like
Well-
if a baby just was an adult instead. That's what he looks like.
So the narrator's like, do you love him? And she's like, I told you you can make yourself love anybody. Besides, he had a stinking childhood. If it was so stinking, why does he cling to it? Use your head. Can't you just see it's just Rusty feels safer in diapers than he would in a skirt? Which is really the choice, only he's awfully touchy about it. He tried to stab me with a butter knife because I told him to grow up and face the issue, settle down and play house with a nice fatherly truck driver.
Uh-huh.
Meantime, I've got him on my hands, which is okay. He's harmless. He thinks girls are dolls. Literally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she called him out once, and he, like, fucking tried to attack her with a butter knife, which, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he's got some suppressed feelings going on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's also, since we're talking about Rusty, here's a quote about the Nazi tie-in. Though he'd been a bachelor since apparently before the war, he'd proposed to Unity Mitford. At least he was supposed to have sent her a cable offering to marry her if Hitler didn't. This was said to be the reason Winchell always referred to him as a Nazi. That and the fact that he attended rallies in Yorkville.
Icky.
He's a fucking horrible person. So we'll get back to Rusty because he plays a pretty big part in this, unfortunately.
So besides Rusty, eventually another person enters, and that's Mag. She was well over 6 feet tall, taller than most of the men there. She was a triumph over ugliness, so often more beguiling than real beauty, if only because it contains a paradox. In this case, as opposed to the scrupulous method of plain good taste and scientific grooming, the trick had been worked by exaggerating defects. She'd made them ornamental by omitting them boldly, heels that emphasized her height, so steep her ankles trembled, a flat, tight bodice that indicated she could go to a beach in bathing trunks, hair that was pulled back, straight back, accentuating the spareness, the starvation of her fashion model face. Even the stutter, certainly genuine, but it's still a bit late on, had been turned to advantage. It was the master stroke of the stutter, for it contrived to make her banalities sound somehow original, and secondly, despite her tallness, her assurance it served to inspire in male listeners a provocative feeling.
She's the unusual pretty because she's tall and she's not as feminine as Holly.
Mm.
But Holly is jealous of her because she's like, I wanted to be the only girl here.
They're
and
like,
then Mag waltzes in and
they're like frenemies.
They're frenemies for sure. Well, because Mag ends up like living with her for a while.
Uh-huh.
That's a whole fun thing.
Yeah. But imagine that.
Well, like, what cracked me up was at the party, Holly's there, Mag shows up and she's like, you're hoarding all the men.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, ugh, fucking Mag.
She starts drinking, she starts having fun, Mag does. She goes to the powder room and comes back. She's flirting with all these men before she goes back. And while Mag is taking her powder, fucking Holly's like, well, she certainly looks clean, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I didn't understand.
I had to reread it.
I didn't understand that the first, like, I caught it today what it meant, which I feel stupid that I didn't understand it the first time, but she was implying that she has an STD.
Yeah.
Oh, the clapping of the hands?
No, that's later.
Oh, I
Okay.
love that.
She's
quote,
had
though.
That one's my absolute
She's like,
favorite.
they had so much clap, they'd have applause.
Yeah.
Or something.
She's had to clap your hands so many times, it may as well have been applause.
Yeah, I love that
That
quote.
was my absolute favorite.
Oh, here it is.
Mhm.
That, said Holly, won't be necessary. She's been here before. She knows where it is. She was empty. I think that's when Mag was going to the bathroom.
Yes.
She was emptying ashtrays, and after Mag Wildwood had left the room, she emptied another, then sighed, rather. It's really very sad. She paused long enough to calculate the number of inquiring expressions. It was sufficient. And so mysterious. You'd think it would show more. But heaven knows she looks healthy. So well clean. That's the extraordinary part, wouldn't you? She asked with concern, but of no one in particular. Wouldn't you say she looked clean? So that's whenever she alludes to everyone, she's like, she's got something.
Yeah.
You better watch out.
And then, like, Mag comes out of the bathroom and is like, what the fuck happened? It
Yeah.
died in here. I was, like, the life of the party, and now nobody wants to be with me. And I think the, like, final straw was, like, I guess there was, like, a pilot or Navy guy or somebody there who had asked for her number to take her to dinner, and, like, she was like, hey, and he was like, hey, bye.
Yeah.
Basically, like,
I just love the way that Truman writes because, like, you could visualize that entire thing. She's just like, well, And then she like looks around to see who's listening. It's like, she's such a little butthole.
She's such a little bitch.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like Holly's character and I hate Holly's character.
She's an interesting person. Like in book form, but like I said, in real life she'd be exhausting. And I think the narrator gets exhausted of her, but like
that's
she's
another
so
term that
entertaining.
Vince said whenever he watched the movie with me, he was like, what the fuck? She's exhausting.
Yeah.
She's insufferable.
Yeah, they definitely All right. So that was fun. Honestly, again, it would be nice to, well, maybe it wouldn't be that fun to go to one of Holly's parties because then you have all these predatory men just like hounding you. That actually wouldn't be fun.
Oh, she also invited a dude in his 50s to fight.
Oh, yeah. Mag did.
Yeah. And
to a fight?
To fight. Like, she was going to fight him.
Well,
and I was like, wow.
Yeah, she ends up just what? Like,
because she's Southern, right? She's got a little Spitfire Southern
Oh, yeah.
personality.
And she's like, you know what's going to happen to you? She said with no hint of a stutter, which I was like, is she faking that?
Yes.
Well, because Holly kind of said she like brings on the stutter to like get people in, like, interested. You know,
she's like, I'm going to march you over to the zoo and feed you to the yak.
The yak. I don't think yaks eat meat.
No,
okay.
I don't think so either.
I did want to mention during this time is the first time we talk about the mean reds.
I was just gonna get to that. Let's talk about the mean reds. I love his little descriptions of his little label, his little words for things.
Yes. Listen, you know those days when you've got the mean reds? Same as the blues? No, she said slowly. No, the blues are because you're getting fat or maybe it's been raining too long. You're sad, that's all. But the mean reds are horrible. You're afraid and you sweat like hell, but you don't know what you're afraid of, except something bad is going to happen, only you don't know what it is. You've had that feeling? Quite often, some people call it angst. All right, angst, but what do you do about it?
Well, a drink helps.
Yes. Yeah, yep. The mean reds. We've all had the mean reds.
Yeah, but I liked that little thing, and she talks about it a lot where she gets the mean reds and
she explains, and this is why it's like breakfast at Tiffany's. She explains that she goes to Tiffany's to feel better and it calms her down, and that's her like happy place, I guess you could say.
Even though she doesn't have enough money to buy anything there, but it's like her like, hey, this is what I want to be.
Her cards were from Tiffany's.
That's right.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's probably the only thing she can afford.
But yeah, you could tell that she's trying to put herself in. She's imagining herself as better having a different life than what she really does, and that's why she's putting on all these phony personas.
These airs.
Yes, these airs. So then the narrator, he gets one of his stories published. He gets a little letter in the mail saying, "Hey, congratulations, we're going to publish your story," and he gets all excited.
I liked that part.
Yeah.
Because I think it highlights, so Holly is actually very good at reading people. But she doesn't fucking care.
Yeah, no, she really doesn't.
She's read a room, and she is so brazen and so shitty sometimes. Even though she can read the emotions that others are having, she doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing, and it was so well highlighted at that point. He's excited about the publication. He goes to tell her, and she said, well, I wouldn't let them publish, not if they don't pay you.
Yep.
And then she goes, oh, I see. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate.
Yes.
So basically, she watches his face fall, and she's like, oh, never mind.
Just
like,
kidding.
She's so good at recognizing human emotion and, like, feeling a room and recognizing the way others are feeling, like that empathy piece, that she's really good at playing into what other people want to hear.
And that's how she gets by.
Which is how she gets by, and it's fucking dangerous as hell. Like, I know people like that.
She knows how to talk to people. But then also at the same time...
She's charismatic.
Yeah.
She's very charismatic.
At the same time, that quote, though, that whole thing really is telling of, like, he's in it for the art and the passion. She's in it for the money. Mm-hmm. She's like, oh, well, if you're not going to get money, what's the point?
Right.
But he's like, it's art. And so she's like, oh, yes, let's go out on the town. So they have this whole montage of things that they run around New York doing.
But first, here's my reference for the champagne cocktails.
Oh!
It says that
Monday. Do they have those in celebration?
Yes, that Monday in October 1943, a beautiful day with the buoyancy of a bird. To start, we had Manhattans, which I'm also not a fan of, which would have been the bourbons.
That's a very strong...
The whiskeys.
Yes.
At Joe Bell's. And then when he heard of my good luck, champagne cocktails on the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I'd rather have a champagne cocktail.
Day drinking.
Me too.
And then
they go about having their little fun.
They slam some drinks and then they go to the zoo.
Yes.
And they're running around.
The zoo.
No, they went to the zoo.
No, they avoided it.
They avoided it because she doesn't like anything caged.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, true. They don't go to the zoo.
They had
and then
lunch.
they go to the zoo. I mean, they didn't.
They had lunch at a cafeteria in the park.
Yeah.
And then they went and stole something.
Yeah, because
to keep her hand in.
Have you ever stolen anything before? She's like, no. And so they go into like a little dollar store, five and dime store, and they snag something. Some Halloween masks. Yeah, yes. Halloween masks.
And they also kind of started getting close enough to slightly talk about Holly's past.
Yeah.
I liked this quote. Is that Aprils have never meant much to me. Autumn seemed that season of beginning, spring. Which is how I felt sitting with Holly on the railings of the boathouse porch. I thought of the future and spoke of the past, because Holly wanted to know about my childhood. She talked of her own too, but it was elusive, nameless, placeless, and an impressionistic recital. Though the impression received was contrary to what one expected, for she gave an almost voluptuous account of swimming and summer and Christmas trees, pretty cousins, and parties. In short, happy in a way that she was not, and never certainly, the background of a child who had run away.
So, she also talks a lot about her brother Fred.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a lot.
Yes.
But no background other than he's my brother Fred.
Well, the way that she talks about her brother Fred felt inappropriate to me at times. She almost romanticizes this relationship with her brother, to me. She just talks so much about him and in such a way that it's almost like she's talking about a lover rather than a brother. But also, because for a while I was like, is this actually like an ex or something that she's just like hung up on?
My perspective of her bringing up Fred and calling the narrator Fred a lot is like friend zoning him. She's friend zoning him by being like, you're the one man in my life that I'm not gonna
she immediately
go to bed
like,
with because I don't want to
remind me of my brother, therefore.
Yeah. That's what I and I do think that Fred is probably the most truest and best relationship she has because he actually knows who she is. But yeah, I did not get that. I got like, oh, I'm calling you Fred to friend zone you because I don't want you to have that kind of relationship with you.
I think she misses him dearly.
Maybe.
And he was like the only guy in her life that actually cared for her and didn't expect something out of her.
And we'll get to it later, but she probably feels guilty for leaving him.
Yeah,
he was still there before he got drafted.
I never got anything like inappropriate with her.
Yeah.
And maybe I just read too much into it, but there was just a couple
think about incest or something.
No, it wasn't about incest.
You being weird.
It wasn't that I felt like they had a sexual relationship. I just felt like it was more romanticized than you usually would with a sibling.
Another thing about them gallivanting around New York, it just reminded me of like being carefree in your 20s. You know, you're just like wandering around doing whatever you want, maybe stealing a mask or two. You know.
Yeah.
And then there's this quote, because I love it because it's like he paints this story of like, oh, look how much fun we're having, and then he's like, I have a memory of spending many hither and yawning days with Holly, and it's true, we did at odd moments see a great deal of each other. But on the whole, the memory is false, because toward the end of the month, I found a job. What is there to add? The less the better, except to say it was necessary and lasted from 9 to 5, which made our hours, Holly's and mine, extremely different. So he got a job, and they saw less and less of each other. Because it's kind of like, the way that he describes it is like, their friendship was very short, but they lived a lot while they were friends. But it really doesn't, it's not a lasting friendship.
Right. They just had a lot of fun together while they were together.
Yes, exactly.
And then I think it's after he starts working. Yeah, it's after he starts working that he sees her one time. He's like going home, I think, and he sees her going into the library. And I thought,
oh yeah,
this was a really interesting piece for me, and I really liked it.
Well, he's also like, why would she be in a library?
Yeah,
Like,
he
she
was
doesn't
like,
seem like someone that'd be in a library. This bitch is in a library?
He says, she was through the doors before I recognized her, which was pardonable. For Holly and libraries were not an easy association to make.
So then, Madge and her are like living together at this point. And they host a Christmas party. And I thought this was cute that the narrator and Holly both got Christmas presents for each other.
That was cute.
Yeah. Holly got him a bird-cage.
Because it was one he'd admired already.
Yeah, because I think when they were waltzing through New York, he was like, I like that birdcage. And it was like expensive.
It was like $350 for this birdcage.
And so she fucking bought it for him.
Y'all ever looked at the prices of bird cages like that?
No.
That is very normal. They are fucking expensive.
Because they're all metal, right? So it's like
that
an
and they're
ornate
just, yeah.
design and everything.
Because I'm like, I want one. I want to decorate it and make it weird. But I'm like, I'm not going to spend that much money on that.
Okay, here is where there's a bit of... this was kind of sexual. Okay. So she gives him the birdcage and everything. I had one for her too, a small package in my pocket that felt even smaller when I saw, square on the bed and wrapped with a red ribbon, the beautiful birdcage. But Holly, it's dreadful. I couldn't agree more, but I thought you wanted it. The money, $350. She shrugged. A few extra trips to the powder room. Promise me, though, promise you'll never put a living thing in it. Because they had this whole discussion about how, like you said,
she doesn't like caged things.
Yeah. Okay, this part I was like, dang. I started to kiss her, but she held out her hand. Gimme, she said, tapping the bulge in my pocket.
Gimme.
And he's like, I'm afraid it isn't much.
Yeah.
What is the present?
got a little micro penis?
What's going in the pocket?
So he says, I'm afraid it isn't much. And it wasn't. A St. Christopher's medal, but at least it came from Tiffany's.
I mean,
which was cute.
That's
probably still a bit.
It's still expensive if it came from there.
And then I like this quote right after that. Holly was not a girl who could keep anything, and surely by now she had lost that medal, left it in a suitcase or some hotel drawer. But the birdcage is still mine. I've lugged it to New Orleans, Nantucket, all over Europe, Morocco, the West Indies, yet I seldom remember that it was Holly who gave it to me, because at one point I chose to forget. We had a big falling out, and among the objects rotating in the eye of our hurricane were the birdcage and O.J. Berman and my story, a copy of which I'd given Holly when it appeared in the University Review. So I love that, like, they have not seen each other forever, you know, but he still lugs around that birdcage to this day. I was like, that's kind of cute, you know.
Yeah.
What comes after that?
Holly and Jose and Mag and Rusty all go to Key West, and they have a little winter vacation, and they come back and she's telling the narrator about the trip. Mm-hmm. And that's when
that sounds like a chaotic trip.
I was
about to want to be involved. Like,
sounds fucking
I think
nuts.
Rusty got fucking beat up, and then he was
got into
jail.
a fight with some sailors.
Yeah,
Mag got first-degree sunburns all over. Yeah. So
Rusty went to prison.
Yeah, that's what I knew. Someone went to jail.
Yeah.
So Holly and Jose were like, "Well, fuck this." So they went to Havana and like hung out. Mm-hmm. And then Mag was all pissed and thought she was sleeping with Jose, and she wasn't, but she convinced Mag that she was a lesbian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, she couldn't have believed that. And she was like, the hell she didn't. Why do you think she went out and bought this army cot? Leave it to me. I'm always top banana in the shock department. Be a darling, and rub some oil on my back.
Be a darling.
Rusty didn't go to jail, sorry. He got into a fight with those sailors, and he ended up in a back brace for the rest of his life.
Oh, someone did go to jail, though, I thought, but maybe not. Never mind.
No, this is when they have their argument where he's putting the oil on her back.
This is a big thing that we need to talk about. Let's talk about it.
She's like, I gave your story to O.J. Berman because he's in town. He was quite impressed. He thinks maybe you're worth helping, but he says you're on the wrong track. Basically, the story was about children and black people, and they didn't think it was something worth writing about, I guess, because it doesn't mean anything.
Well, yeah, this was one of the racist parts that we're talking about, where Holly's like, no one wants to hear about all the black people and kids and poor people. And it's like, fuck you, Holly. Stop being such a twat. But the main reason why they had a falling out is because she's like, why didn't you write something like Wuthering Heights? That was great book. And then he's like, he realizes that she's talking about the movie, that she's never read the book. And that's when he's like, oh.
But he also raised his hand and well,
he didn't, but she sensed that after
she sensed the change, in his demeanor, because he wanted to spank her, but he didn't.
Yeah. He said, my hand, smoothing oil on her skin, seemed to have a temper of its own. It yearned to raise itself and come down on her buttocks. Give me an example, I said quietly, of something that means something in your opinion. Wuthering Heights, she said without hesitation. The urge in my hand was growing beyond control. But that's unreasonable. You're talking about a work of genius. It was, wasn't it? My sweet Kathy. God, I cried buckets. I saw it 10 times. I said, oh, with recognizable relief. Oh, with a shameful rising inflection. The movie. So that's whenever he's realizing
you're not even comparing my work to another book. You're comparing it to a fucking movie. Yeah. And you're not even capable of appreciating what I have written, I don't think. Yeah. It's very frustrating for him to be like, you're not even you're not even comparing apples to oranges here. You're comparing apples to fucking coconuts. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and I think also it's he's realizing she's so superficial and not cultured in that way. And he's like, oh, we have nothing in common. Let's bring it back to the song. It's we have nothing in common except Breakfast at Tiffany's. Oh, we watched that movie once. It's oh, they have nothing in common.
Yeah.
Well, she then gets on again about don't you want to make money? And she's like, everyone has to feel superior to someone type thing. And he's like, he's not concerned about making money like she is.
He's realizing that they have completely different views of life and different ambitions and things like that.
She's like, well, I'll tell you, you'd better make money. You have an expensive imagination. Not many people are going to buy you bird cages. And he's like, sorry. And she's like, you will be if you hit me. You wanted a minute ago, and I could feel it in your hand, and you want to now.
Oh, yes. And then right after that, I was like, damn, when he said this. I did terribly. My heart was shaking as I recapped the bottle of oil. Oh no, I wouldn't regret that. I'm only sorry you wasted your money on me. Rusty Trawler is too hard a way of earning it.
I loved that. I also liked her response, though.
Yeah.
She sat up on the army cot, her face, her naked breasts coldly blue in the sun lamp light. It should take you about 4 seconds to walk from here to the door. I'll give you 2.
Yes. I was like, woo!
Yeah. So it was a pretty hot argument.
Yeah, I was like, damn, mic drop right there for both of them.
And then he's like, I went straight upstairs, got the bird cage, took it down, and left it in front of her door. That settled that. Or so I imagined, until the next morning when I was leaving for work, I saw the cage perched on a sidewalk ash can, waiting for the garbage collector. Rather sheepishly, I rescued it and carried it back to my room. A capitulation that did not lessen my resolve to put Holly Golightly absolutely out of my life. She was, I decided, a crude exhibitionist, a time waster, an utter fake, someone never to be spoken to again.
A fucking phony! Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like that. I just love the way he writes.
He's very good.
It's such easy reading too. I don't know. Mm-hmm.
I like the way he writes. It's very, I don't know,
natural.
It's natural, but it's I don't know. It's kind of pretty.
Yeah, it's eloquent.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so now we get introduced to Doc Golightly.
Yes.
Who is Doc Golightly, guys?
Her daddy husband.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say.
Daddy husband.
So what happens is, doesn't the narrator, he kind of sees this dude hanging out outside their apartment. He's like, what the fuck's up with this creep? What the fuck?
Well, because he thought maybe he was a PI or something like this. He thought he was a private investigator. Or he was kind of following Holly around because she owed money.
He knew that he was going after Holly.
Yeah, he knew that there's something weird here.
He's like, I'm gonna just see what's going on.
And so as pissed as he is at Holly, he's still
I want to make sure she's okay.
Let me just go follow this fucking guy around the city for a while.
Mm-hmm.
He said, it was no novelty to encounter suspicious specimens among Holly's callers. Quite the contrary. But one day, late that spring, while passing through the brownstones vestibule, I noticed a very, because it's italicized, a very provocative man examining her mailbox. A person in his early 50s with a hard-weathered face, gray, forlorn eyes.
I would not say provocative.
I'm so sorry, because all I can think about is like some old dude in like a fucking
Fedora.
Fedora hat, just like fucking hump in the air. Like,
yeah, provocative to me is like sexual.
Yeah, I was like, what a weird description.
Just standing on the street corner in a fedora like this.
I would not.
Because the way he describes him is not provocative.
Maybe Truman Capote has a thing for older dudes.
Maybe he just thought he was being funny.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't think Doc Golightly is provocative.
Hold on.
I don't know.
Hold on. I like that we all think that provocative means the same thing, but it's not. I mean, it is. So there's arousing sexual desire or interest, especially deliberately.
Hey.
So that's the second definition.
Okay.
But the first definition, which is probably how he means it, is causing annoyance, anger, or another strong reaction, especially deliberately.
Oh.
So
I'm perturbed that you're here.
they were making, they made
Provocative.
provocative marks about foreign policy. So there's like that other definition that we don't think about because it's not really how it's used these days.
Yeah.
Well, if you also think about the other definition, provocative can irritate people that are very conservative.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, he
And there's a reason I called him Daddy Husband, okay?
Yeah. No, it's kind of, this part's gross. Guys.
Yeah.
It's pretty icky.
So the guy introduces himself as Doc Golightly, and he's from Texas.
Tulip Texas.
He's like, well, because the narrator thinks that he's Holly's father, and he's like, her name's not Holly. She was Lula Mae Barnes. He said, shifting the toothpick in his mouth, till she married me. I'm her husband, Doc Golightly. I'm a horse doctor, animal man. Do some farming too, near Tulip, Texas. And then, he goes into the backstory of how everything happened, which is what?
Basically, her kids, one of his children found her and her brother in their barn trying to steal turkey eggs.
Yeah.
And they brought them in the kitchen and locked them down there. And it turned out that basically their parents had died when I think she was she was pretty young. I think 5?
Story was their mother died of tuberculosis and their papa done the same. And this is him. Let me...
Yeah.
Story was their mother died of TB and their papa done the same. And all the children, a whole raft of them, they've been sent off to live with different mean people.
Papa, I got 2 wild youngins locked in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I caught them outside stealing milk and turkey eggs. Gross. Turkey eggs don't sound good.
No, but when you're hungry,
When you're hungry,
I
you're
don't
hungry.
know.
I mean, you'll eat anything.
We all doted on her. She didn't have to lift a finger except to eat a piece of pie, except to comb her hair and send away for all the magazines. We must have had $100 worth of magazines coming to that house. Ask me, that's what done it. So then he ends up marrying her, and she's fucking 14 years old at this point.
Yeah, she was 14, and he said something about she had her mind made up, and she knew what she wanted and all this. And 14, no, you fucking don't. But
Yeah.
Okay.
First thing you know, I'm out picking flowers. I tamed her a crow and taught it to say her name. I showed her how to play the guitar.
I'd be real fucking impressed if someone tamed a crow.
Yeah, they're really
and
smart
taught
and
them
stubborn.
to talk, because I have lusted after having a crow army for so long.
Yes.
Hey, gentlemen.
I love crows. They're
or
so
ladies.
Whoever wants to.
If
Tame
you're
me a crow
interested
army.
in Sam, bring her an army of crows that say her name.
Yeah.
I try
Say
to.
my name, and make it be a crow that is singing my name.
I always try to feed our crows, and they're like, "Fuck off!" And I'm like, "No, come back! I give you peanuts."
All right, so he tamed her a crow, taught her to say her name. Just to look at her made the tears spring to my eyes. That night I proposed, I cried like a baby. Granted, she's fucking 14 years old at this point. She said, "What you want to cry for, Doc? Of course we'll be married. I've never been married before." Well, I had to laugh, hug and squeeze her. Never been married before. He chuckled, chewed on his toothpick a moment. "Don't tell me that woman wasn't happy," he said challengingly. We all doted on her. And then it gets to the part that I just said. How she didn't have to do nothing.
Yeah. We all doted on her, and she run right off.
Every day she'd walk a little further, a mile and come home, 2 miles and come home. One day she just kept on going.
Well, and he said that he thought it was because of the magazines that she was looking at and that she lusted after, like, a different life, which...
Yeah.
She's 14, and she's never known anything outside of, like...
And she's trying to survive.
Yeah.
like,
she's never known anything outside of survival, and now marriage to you. And
She's underage. And
Yeah.
she's a child bride.
She's 14 years old. There's no reason that this 14-year-old little girl should be getting married to this man, especially in this situation, because it's very much like a... I mean, it shouldn't happen ever. But in this situation, too, there's like a power play here, too.
Dynamic.
There's a power
I
dynamic.
saved your life. All you gotta do is just read your magazines.
Yes.
You don't gotta do nothing.
I feel like there
Exactly.
was a bargain here, and she
Yeah.
knew that there was without him maybe even saying it. It's like, especially during the time that this was, I feel like it's kind of
The
Great
40s.
Depression.
It's right
Yeah.
at the end. It's
Yeah,
the
like
Great
40s,
Depression,
yeah.
beginning of 40s.
At the end, so like they're still like coming back from it. So she's like, well, we've lived through this. I could just marry this weirdo and then I could be taken care of, because people were so insecure about their financial like
Well, and they
ability
Mhm.
to like survive,
were,
which
they were
understandable.
parentless. They were breaking into like a
Yeah.
farmhouse to steal
Yeah.
eggs. So
Yeah. and they didn't have parents. They had no one taking care of them. So she probably saw it as her best option no matter what.
Yeah. Until she
And-
found a way out.
And she wanted to
Yes.
make sure that Fred also had a place of security. So she was basically sacrificing herself for both of them.
I think he was just so simple he didn't see anything wrong with it. I really don't think he saw
The wrong
the
in it.
problems
Yeah.
with this very problematic pairing.
Well, and we'll see later, like, he doesn't put up a fight or anything, and he could have been
He
Yeah.
could have been a
worse of
dickhead.
he could have been even worse of a character that, like, the other men in her life are way more predatory towards her than he is.
Mm-hmm.
So I get what you're saying, Amber, about that.
But it's
But
still,
it's still
not,
not
okay.
Yeah.
And he
Yes.
doesn't see why she wanted to leave. Like, he has no idea why she wanted to leave.
Right.
And so I got 3 things to say. First off, that's why she has all this guilt about leaving Fred, because she did leave Fred there.
Yeah.
And then he got drafted to the army.
Which she
Basically,
would have
almost
gotten
a death
drafted
sentence,
regardless.
basically.
Didn't matter
Yeah.
if she was saved there
But
or not.
she didn't get to say goodbye. She probably didn't even tell Fred she was going to leave, because he would have followed her, and she wanted him to have a place to live and all this stuff. So she
Mhm.
probably didn't even say a proper goodbye to him.
I think at one point in the book, she also basically says it was better for Fred to stay there because it made him happy because he got to work with horses and things like that.
And eat all the peanut butter he wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fred, I get it. I love peanut butter too.
Mm-hmm. And then this also plays on why she doesn't like animals in cages, because she felt like an animal in a cage.
She felt like an animal in a cage. She was gifted animals in cages. She watched Doc take care of animals because he's a vet.
Mm-hmm. The narrator asked her, but what about her brother? He didn't leave. And he was like, no, sir. He said, clearing his throat. Fred was with us right till they took him in the army. A fine boy. Fine with horses. He didn't know what got into Lula May. How come she left her brother and husband in Turin? After he was in the army, though, Fred started hearing from her. The other day he wrote me her address, so I come to get her. I know she's sorry for what she's done. I know she wants to go home. He seemed to be asking me to agree with him. I told him that I thought he'd find Holly or Lula May somewhat changed. Listen, son, he said as we reached the steps of the brownstone. I advise you I need a friend, because I don't want to surprise her, scare her none. That's why I've held off. Be my friend and let her know I'm here. So, basically, he goes upstairs and he finds Holly. He was like, Holly was alone. She answered the door at once. In fact, she was on her way out. White satin dancing pumps and quantities of perfume announced gala intentions. Well, idiot, she said playfully, slapped me with her purse. I'm in too much of a hurry to make up now. We'll smoke the pipe tomorrow, okay? Sure, Lula May, if you're still around tomorrow. She took off her dark glasses and squinted at me. It was as though her eyes were shattered prisms, the dots blue and gray and green like broken bits of sparkle. He told you that, she said in a small, shivering voice. Oh, please, where is he? She ran past me into the hall. Fred, she called down the stairs. Fred, where are you, darling? I could hear Doc Golightly's footsteps climbing the stairs. His head appeared above the banisters, and Holly backed away from him, not as though she were frightened, but as though she was retreating into a shell of disappointment. Then he was standing in front of her, hang-dog and shy. Gosh, Lula May, he began and hesitated, for Holly was gazing at him vacantly, as though she couldn't place him. Gee, honey, he said, don't they feed you up here? You're so skinny. Like when I first saw you, all wild around the eye. Holly touched his face. His fingers tested the reality of his chin and his beard stubble. Hello, Doc, she said gently, and kissed him on the cheek. Hello, Doc, she repeated happily, as he lifted her off her feet in a rib-crushing grip. Whoops of relieved laughter shook him. Gosh, Lula May, kingdom come.
Oh.
Yeah. That interaction kind of surprised me, because I felt like when she was going to see him, she's going to be like, fuck you. But
Run
she
away.
like welcomed
Yeah.
him.
Well, I think
she was just shocked to see him there, too.
Yeah,
I
but
think she was-
I mean, it was, but that just goes to show she pleases people. Like, she's
pleases
like, he's
people,
here. I need to welcome him, even if I don't want to go back with him.
But is it also, like, a weird ingrained thing for women to do that? Because,
Yeah.
like, she's like, oh, well, I have to treat him nice because he did this thing for me. And, like, I feel grateful, but, like, even if I'm not that person anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's some of it, because that was kind of my thought was, she seemed surprised to see him, but she wasn't angry with him, and I think she saw him as somebody who took care of her
A
during
fatherly
a hard time.
figure.
Yeah,
Not a
fatherly-
sexual figure, a
Right.
fatherly figure. Yeah.
right.
I definitely feel like she was thankful for him and what he did, but I feel like she matured and realized this is not great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
As she grew up, she was like, okay, I need to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I also feel like this insight into that relationship is one of the reasons why she uses men to get what she wants, and she's like, I need a man to give me money to get what I want. And as soon as I don't have that anymore, I'm going to go on to the next man, because it's not about being attracted to them and having sex with them. It's about getting what I want out of them and
Yes.
then moving on.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, I don't know, that whole thing is like, oh,
It's
I
definitely
see why she's doing what she's doing.
a learned behavior.
It's
Yeah.
a power thing. Like, she has the ability to take care of herself in this one way.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she knows she can do.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want people to think of her as like a poor, like, Southern person. So that's why she's putting on this persona of like, oh, I shop at Tiffany's and I wear the gorgeous gowns and I am this highfalutin person, even though she's not really, she's a phony.
Yeah.
She is.
And it's okay to be poor. It's okay to, but she's just very like, what's the word where you're like,
Self-deprecating?
well, that too, but like, can't think of it. But whenever you don't have very good self-esteem about yourself, you put on this persona to make yourself pump yourself up, even though you really don't have a good
You
self-esteem.
pretend to be self-confident.
Yes.
Yeah.
She has all this self-confidence, even though she really doesn't have all this
Gotcha.
self-confidence, because
No,
she's
yeah.
acting the whole time.
Yeah.
When they're like, the narrator is talking to her at Joe Bell's bar and they're getting fucked up.
Yes.
After this happens. She says, well, Joe Bell's like, you're rocking the boat kind of early because she's already drank
and
several
it's like probably
martinis.
2 p.m. or something.
It was not yet noon.
Yeah, there we go.
According to the black mahogany clock behind the bar, and he'd already served us 3 rounds. So she felt the need to justify herself, which she has never shown that to him before. And she's like, well, I had to. Doc really loves me, and I love him. He may have looked old and tacky to you, but you don't know the sweetness of him, the confidence he can give to birds and brats and fragile things like that. Anyone who ever gave you confidence, you owe them a lot. I've always remembered Doc in my prayers. Please stop smirking. I do say my prayers. So it's like she feels indebted to him, at least like emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
She knows that he did help her out. And she does say, oh, I did love him, but I don't think she was in love with him.
No.
There's a difference.
It was not a
there's
romantic
huge-
love, yeah.
And I think this is the quote you might have been talking about, Amber, because it's the same conversation. She's talking to Joe Bell, and she's like, never love a wild thing, Mr. Bell, Holly advised him. That was Doc's mistake. He was always lugging home wild things, a hawk with a hurt wing. One time it was a full-grown bobcat with a broken leg. But you can't give your heart to a wild thing. The more you do, the stronger they get, until they're strong enough to run into the woods or fly into a tree, then a taller tree, then the sky. That's how you'll end up, Mr. Bell. If you let yourself love a wild thing, you'll end up looking at the sky.
I'll take a bobcat.
She said, let's wish the Doc good luck, too, she said, touching her glass against mine. Good luck, and believe me, dearest Doc, it's better to look at the sky than live there. Such an empty place, so vague, just a country where the thunder goes and things disappear. So, like, she's talking about, of course, herself in that moment of, I'm lonely here. Like, there's nothing else around me.
Yeah.
She chose that big blue sky of openness, but now she's in a way regretting it, but she's also kind of too proud to admit that.
I think she's having way more fun doing the life she's doing now.
Yeah, for sure. But also, like,
she wanted bigger and better things.
She doesn't have a home, and she knows it. She's never had a place that felt
look
safe.
at the cat.
Yeah. She doesn't even name the cat because she's scared of commitment.
Yes. She's never had a place that felt like home to her, and so she's always looking for it. And she's happier being free than she is being caged by someone at a place she doesn't want to be, but she doesn't she also doesn't feel happy where she is either, because she doesn't have a place that she feels comfortable.
Yeah. I don't know. She is such a superficial character, but she's not at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of layers to her.
She's a very interesting character, and I think that's part of the draw of this book.
So they kind of grow more and more apart after this, and there's one time where I think the narrator's on a train and he picks up a newspaper and there's a headline about Rusty Trawler getting married.
Yes.
And he automatically assumes that Holly married him.
If Holly could marry that absurd fetus.
Yes! That absurd Nazi fucking fetus.
The absurd fetus.
Fuck you, Rusty
That
Trawler.
is so fucking phenomenal. If Holly could marry that absurd fetus, then the army of wrongness rampant in the world might as well march over me. Or, and the question is apparent, was my outrage a little the result of being in love with Holly myself? A little, for I was in love with her, just as I'd once been in love with my mother's elderly cook and a postman who let me follow him on his rounds, and a whole family named McKendrick. That category of love generates jealousy too. So he mentioned that he loves her, but then in the same sentence he's like, in the same way that I loved a postman once.
That's what I'm thinking. He's gay.
I mean, yeah, I could see that, but he's also like, it's one of those things when you have like such a close friendship and then someone else comes in and is like,
get jealous.
You get jealous.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah,
why are you hanging out with me?
Yeah. Like, do I mean nothing?
Why are you
to
taking them to a concert? You're my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
You are my best friend. They cannot be your best friend.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, like, in the book, it's not so much of a romantic love, but in the movie, they made it a romantic love because it's Hollywood, and that's what
Right.
you fucking do.
It isn't a romantic love in the book, but it sometimes almost sounds adjacent to love.
Here's the thing. Okay.
A few times.
I'm saying the narrator is Truman Capote. Truman Capote was gay. I think that, I can't think of the word, but it's basically like he loves the idea of her.
Right.
He's not in love with her, but he loves the idea of her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do.
I think that's...
And that's
what's going
very
on.
possible. I think that we all get that to an extent anyway with just about anyone I've ever been interested in at one point in time or my life or another, is I wasn't really in love with them as much as I was in love with the idea of being in love
Yes,
with them.
exactly. Yeah.
Especially if you're when you're younger, that I feel like that's more of a thing that happens. Then
Yes.
Yeah.
You just keep running right past those red flags that you know are fucking wrong, and you're just like ignoring it because I really want to be in love with this person. I really want this puzzle piece to fit inside my puzzle, even though it doesn't fit at fucking all.
And
all.
in a way, that's what he's doing with this friendship, though. Like, he's like, I'm just going to pick up everything and help her all the way, even though, like, this is not a very healthy friendship. No, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Sometimes you can live a lot of life through other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even if it's just watching them or trying to like keep up with them, which I feel like he was trying to do, but it was just not working for various reasons. I feel like that impact can be really strong, but also exhausting.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
He reads this headline and he assumes it's Holly.
Because he didn't finish reading it like a dummy.
Yeah.
He read that and he was all like fucked up. He had the mean reds, right? Because he was like,
reds.
I didn't fucking read this. He thought she married the absurd fetus. So then he's like on the train. He's like, when I reached my station, I bought a paper and read the tail end of that sentence. Discovered that Rusty's bride was a beautiful cover girl from the Arkansas hills, Miss Margaret Thatcher Fitzhugh Wildwood. I was like, Margaret Thatcher? Oh no!
Her middle name's Thatcher.
Oh no! The British hate her.
Oh yeah, so he realizes that before he goes to her apartment.
And then he's like, oh fuck, thank God. He's like relieved that it wasn't Holly, but then he goes back and it's like a huge commotion and the landlady's like, she's killing someone or somebody's killing her. Call the police.
Yeah. Which she always wanted the police called anyway because she constantly called Holly a whore.
Yeah.
And was like, she's awful.
Being a judgmental little twat.
Yes.
So he goes into the apartment and Jose's there and Holly's just having a meltdown basically.
Yeah, she's like breaking everything. He steps into the room and like the cat's licking milk up off the floor.
He's like, all right.
And there's her sunglasses that are actually glasses are on the floor and they're broken and he steps on them because they were already on the floor, but he realized they were already broken. It's just the whole apartment's in disarray.
Yeah.
Her shit's fucked up.
And you really see Jose for what he is here because he basically, like, after the narrator comes in, he's like, I have a worry, he confided. I have a worry that this should cause scandal, her crashing everything, conducting like a crazy. I must have no public scandal. It is too delicate. My name, my work. So he's like not trying to comfort her. He's like, oh, fuck, this is bad for me. I need to get out of here because she's having a meltdown in her own apartment. I'm not even going to ask her why she's freaking out.
Well, no, he knows why she's freaking out already.
I know, but he's not trying to comfort her or anything.
He called a doctor.
He did, but the doctor only sedated her, and he just kept being like, she's only grieving, right? Like, she's not having a fucking, like, issue.
He's
like,
not a comforting person.
Okay.
You can tell he doesn't really love her, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that. I had mixed reviews on this, because I feel like he handled it exactly what his status would. So he's what, a senator, isn't he? Like he's like a senator, or he's some kind of a
he's like an emissary from Brazil.
That's it.
Yeah.
So he's an emissary.
And him and Holly have been going out.
Yes.
But he was before going with Mag.
Yeah. Yeah. And now she's married to a Nazi.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. What a great track record Jose has, right?
Right. So, but he was definitely way more worried about how this would affect him and how it would look and whatnot.
Than her well-being.
Yes.
Right. Which I'm like, fuck you, Jose. That sucks.
I mean, yeah.
Jose, suck a dick.
Yeah.
Also, though.
But we find out that it has nothing to do with Mag running off with Rusty Trawler and marrying him. And it has nothing to do with Jose and her being sad about it. It's all to do about her brother.
He finds a telegram. So the narrator finds a telegram.
Jose hands it to him.
Okay. Jose hands him a telegram, and it was a telegram from Tulip, Texas. Received notice: young Fred killed in action overseas. Stop. Your husband and children join in the sorrow of our mutual loss. Stop. Letter follows. Love, Doc. So she's having this meltdown because her brother died.
The only person that she really cared about, honestly.
And I feel like that's validated. Like, Wreck your apartment, girl. Like, if your fucking brother died, fucking do it.
Yeah, she just completely had a meltdown.
And then she's this is interesting. Holly never mentioned her brother again, except once. Moreover, she stopped calling me Fred. June, July, all through the warm months, she hibernated like a winter animal who did not know spring had come and gone. Her hair darkened, she put on weight, she became rather careless about her clothes, used to rush round to delicatessens wearing a rain slicker and nothing underneath. Wow!
Girl!
Jose moved into the apartment, his name replacing Mag Wildwood's on the mailbox. Still, Holly was a good deal alone, for Jose stayed in Washington 3 days a week. During his absences, she entertained no one and seldom left the apartment, except on Thursdays when she made her weekly trip to Oceanig. So she kind of starts playing like the housewife thing, because
I think it was a hat she wanted to try on.
Because she's still with Jose, and she's like, oh, I'm going to make this work. He's this politician guy. I'm going to make it work. And like, it's interesting.
It was her best bet.
Because you could tell, like, from that paragraph, she's in mourning, but then, like, right after that, he says, which is not to imply that she had lost interest in life. Far from it, she seemed more content, altogether happier than I'd ever seen her. So it's weird, because was she even happy, or is she putting on a face? I think she's putting on a face.
I think she was, like, I think she was, like Sam said, she's
Susie
placing
Homemaker.
her bets on the highest bidder. You know, like, she's putting her bets on the pony that's going to win the race kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I feel like in this situation, it's a distraction, because it's like, okay, she never mentioned Fred again. Yeah. She's not verbalizing to anyone her grief.
No. Yeah.
Which
seems very normal for the time.
Focusing into something else that she thinks is going to make her happy, but it's not going to make her happy in the long run.
Yeah.
No. And that makes me really sad. It's like, you need to show your grief.
Yeah.
Express yourself.
She was trying to hide behind a mask. Mm-hmm. She didn't want to, like, actually approach that grief and deal with it. Mm-hmm. She was trying to turn into something else, because as it goes on, they talk about her trying to be like a housewife and like cooking and everything.
Yeah, she's trying to do the housewife thing. It's like,
before I couldn't cook an egg, she still couldn't.
Yeah, she was not great at cooking. Yeah.
But then she goes on to be like, she starts saying things to Jose about, oh, after we're married or when we moved to Rio. Yet Jose had never suggested marriage. She admitted it. But after all, he knows I'm preggers. Well, I am, darling. 6 weeks gone. I don't see why that should surprise you. It didn't mean not one bit. And then it's like, you are a completely different person from who you were. So it's like she's regressing to like maybe when she married Doc.
Yeah.
As a way of a safety net.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the last days blow about in memory, hazy, autumnal, all alike as leaves, until a day unlike any other I've lived.
I like that line a lot.
Me too.
It's very pretty.
Oh, we get to the park.
Yeah, it's like they go horse riding on his birthday.
Yep. Which is September 30th, the same day as Truman Capote's birthday.
I did not make this connection. So
I did, Lauren. Because I'm a crazy person.
I had no idea because I did not.
It's also my Uncle Steve and my Grandma Randy's birthday.
Oh, that's cool. So they go horseback riding on his birthday. She says she's like leaving in a week or something like this. She's planning to leave for Brazil.
Yeah. And he's like, don't do it. And she's like, I'm going to.
She's like, it's a perfectly good ticket. I'm going to go to Brazil. So they go horseback riding. She talks about Jose bought the tickets and she needs to say goodbye to her horse. And then she says she hasn't seen Sally Tomato for a month and that he was glad to see she was leaving the country because he was afraid there might be some trouble. Mm-hmm. And then there's like a quote in here on page 69 about how he loved her.
Yeah, I remember that too. Yeah. 69. Nice. And suddenly watching the tangled colors of Holly's hair flash in the red yellow leaf light, I loved her enough to forget myself, my self-pitying despairs, and be content that something she thought happy was going to happen.
So to me, that's almost romantic love there.
Yeah.
Because he has
feelings for her.
He does have feelings for her. And I mean, sometimes those friendship relationships can be very intimate to the point where you feel like you're in romantic love
yeah.
and you're not.
Yeah.
So maybe that's this situation, but he's got this moment of, I loved her so much because she was happy, and that, or she thought something happy was going to happen, and that made me content in my own self.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a deep emotional connection there.
Mm-hmm.
But also their relationship in general seems pretty shallow overall.
Yeah. Because of her, not because of him.
Yeah, it's not because of him.
It's very one-sided.
It is very one-sided.
Like, he wants more, and she is just kind of using him.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I don't think she's using him in the way that she uses other men, but
No.
like, she's using him to make him her friend. But she doesn't know how to be a friend. Like a good friend.
Right.
Yeah.
She's just not capable of
using him as an emotional soundboard.
Yeah.
Or a therapist.
Yeah.
In a way. Like, it's not...
Someone to go back to anytime
yeah.
something goes wrong.
Yeah.
This didn't work out. I'm going to go back to Fred, who I'm not calling Fred anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going through the park, though, and there's some young boys that jump out of the bushes and, like, scare the horses and slap their ears, and so the horse takes off.
Well, his horse takes off.
Yeah. and so the horse rears and runs, and he like doesn't
fall off, but he doesn't have control.
He's kind of hang dangling and
Yeah.
trying to figure out what the fuck to do.
I feel like he's like just tangled in there, and he's like holding
he's
on
just
for
like,
dear
oh my
life.
god!
Yes.
And so Holly races behind him. Some policemen end up catching up and flank him, and he does fall off the horse.
Mm-hmm.
Holly puts them both in a taxi, and he thanks her for saving him, and then he faints. He does tell her he loves her, and they're in the bathroom.
That evening, photographs of Holly were front page by the late edition of the Journal American and by the early editions of both the Daily News and the Daily Mirror. The publicity had nothing to do with runaway horses. It concerned quite another matter, as the headlines revealed. Playgirl arrested in narcotics scandal. Arrest dope smuggling actress. Drug ring exposed glamour girl held. So she basically got popped for helping out Sally Tomato. Even though I really don't think she knew what the fuck was going on with that.
I don't think she did either.
I don't think she did either. She seemed pretty naive about it.
Yeah, because she even ends up talking to the press about it, and it's like, stop talking.
Yeah.
Like, you're not helping yourself.
Yeah.
By, like, literally
She's
telling them
just
you
a
don't know.
sweet old pious man.
She just doesn't know what's going on. It's like, you need to just shut the fuck up, girl. You're not helping yourself.
I don't know. She might have been a little bit. 'Cause they were probably like, oh, she has no fucking clue.
Yeah.
So, like, and he's reading the article, and it says, so the lawyer for Sally Tomato also got arrested.
Yeah.
And it's like,
O'Shaughnessy or whatever.
O'Shaughnessy, a burly red-haired man, refused comment and kicked one cameraman in the groin. But Miss Golightly, a fragile eyeful, even though attired like a tomboy in slacks and leather jacket, appeared relatively unconcerned. Don't ask me what the hell this is about, she told reporters. Yes, I have visited Sally Tomato. I used to go see him every week. What's wrong with that?
Mm-hmm.
He believes in God, and so do I.
I think she just threw that out there.
Yeah.
I don't think her talking helped, though, because then it says, then under the subheading, admits own drug addiction. Miss Golightly smiled when a reporter asked whether or not she herself is a narcotics user. I've had a little go at marijuana. It's not half so destructive as brandy. Cheaper, too. Unfortunately, I prefer brandy. No, Mr. Tomato never mentioned drugs to me. It makes me furious the way these wretched people keep persecuting him. He's a sensitive, a religious person, a darling old man. So she's, like, admitting to, like, smoking marijuana. They're like, oh, she's a drug-addicted whore.
Which is so fucking silly.
Yeah, so they kind of like tabloids do what tabloids do, and they kind of go crazy. But what happens? Because what happens in all of her life where people just help her out?
So OJ Berman fucking basically pays her off to, like, pays people off to, like, basically let her go.
Yeah, and she gets put in a hospital.
She's in a hospital because, okay.
That confused me. Why is she in a hospital?
So the horse ride
yeah.
caused a miscarriage. That's why she's in the hospital. She was pregnant.
Oh.
Because she looked terrible. That was the whole thing.
That completely went over my head.
Yes.
I was like, why is she in a hospital?
I guess I don't remember.
So she was in jail. I think she got released to the hospital, but during this small frame of time,
when she's like either in jail or at the
I think
hospital.
it's when she's in the hospital, she'd
Yeah.
asked for some clothes to be brought over
Yeah.
or something. So the narrator goes up to her apartment to collect some things, finds someone else in there. They both see each other and think that they're a burglar, which is fucking hilarious. And then it turns out that Jose's cousin
yeah.
was there and has a letter for Holly.
It's like a breakup letter.
Yes. And so he wants for the narrator to give it to Holly.
Yeah.
2 mornings later, I was sitting by her bedside in a room that reeked of iodine and bedpans, a hospital room. She had been there since the night of her arrest. Well, darling, she'd greeted me as I tiptoed toward her carrying a carton of Picayune's cigarettes and a wheel of new autumn violets. I lost the air. She looked not quite 12 years, her pale vanilla hair brushed back, her eyes, for once, minus their dark glasses, clear as rainwater. One couldn't believe how ill she'd been. And then he hands her the letter after she asks him about Jose. The instant she saw the letter, she squinted her eyes and bent her lips in a tough, tiny smile that advanced her age immeasurably. Darling, she instructed me, would you reach in the drawer there and give me my purse? A girl doesn't read this sort of thing without her lipstick.
And again, to me, that shows that she's hiding behind a mask.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
She's using that as like a coping mechanism.
Which is interesting that the thing that they stole from that Five and Dime were masks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, and also, like, as he's leaving, doesn't she be like, give me a list of all the richest men in the world?
Yeah.
She, like, yells at him as he's
50
leaving. Yeah.
richest men in Brazil.
Because now she has to find someone else to, you
Yes.
know. And then the last quote from that little segment, after he's leaving, a nurse soft shooing into the room advised the visiting hours were over. Holly started to complain and was curtailed by having a thermometer popped into her mouth. But as I
felt so childish.
I was like, that is so, like, you could just envision
like a little
that.
kid.
Yeah, I was like, that is so cute.
Just put this in
like,
your
she's
mouth.
mid-talking and she's like, oh. But as I took leave, she unstopped herself to say, do me a favor, darling, call up the Times or whatever you call and get a list of 50 richest men in Brazil. I'm not kidding. The 50 richest. Regardless of race or color, another favor. Poke around my apartment till you find that medal you gave me. The St. Christopher. I'll need it for the trip. So she gets out of the hospital, and she's still planning on flying to Brazil regardless of that Jose does not want to be with her anymore. And also, she should not leave because she's under, you know, indictment. It's like, you probably shouldn't leave. But he planned to bring some things from her apartment, like her guitar and jewelry and toothbrushes and things. And he was going to meet her at Joe Bell's bar. Oh, and bring the cat too, she says. So we get to the last farewell between the narrator and Holly. It's a rainy day, and that walk to the bar was one of the longest walks he's ever had to do, or felt like one of the longest walks he ever had to do, even though he walked from New Orleans to Nancy's Landing, Mississippi once, under 500 miles, and this felt way more longer than that. So he meets her there. I think we kind of skipped this a little bit, but Joe is kind of like, I don't think we need to encourage her. I don't think we need to help her because, like, he realized a while ago, like, she's self-destructive, and the more you help her out, the more she's going to just keep on going down that tunnel. We don't need to help her out that more. So he's like, kind of like not disgusted, but he's like, I love her, but I don't want to help her out anymore, kind of thing. She kind of has a conversation with Joe, and he kind of like ends up leaving the bar because he's like, I can't deal with this right now. Good luck to whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So they get in a little taxi, and they're on their way to the airport. Oh, this is the part that's going to piss us all off.
Yeah.
She's like, halt the taxi! Holly stepped out of the car. She took the cat with her. Cradling him, she scratched his head and asked, what do you think? This ought to be the right kind of place for a tough guy like you. Garbage cans, rats galore, plenty of cat bums to gang around with. So scram, she said, dropping him. And when he did not move away, instead raised his thug face and questioned her with yellowish pirate eyes, she stamped her foot. I said, beat it! He rubbed against her leg. I said, fuck off, she shouted, then jumped back in the car, slammed the door, and go, she told the driver. Go, go. I was stunned. Well, you are. You are a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that he said that because it's like, dude, like this cat loves you.
Yeah.
And you're literally just abandoning this cat.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know what's going on. It's like that scene in Fox and the Hound whenever Todd, not the same because that old lady was nice.
Yeah.
But it's like, don't do that.
I don't understand what's happening.
I don't know. We traveled a block before she replied. I told you. We just met by the river one day. That's all. Independence, both of us. We never made each other any promises. We never, she said, as her voice collapsed. A tick and invalid whiteness seized her face. The car had paused for a traffic light. Then she had the door open. She was running down the street, and I ran after her. So she kind of ran after the cat after she realized, oh, fuck.
Well, I think she kind of recognized what she'd done. So
Yeah.
Holly basically was abandoned when she was little. Not even an intentional abandonment, but her parents died.
Yeah.
And she had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so now she kind of, I think, recognizes I'm doing the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving this helpless critter, and I do have something in common.
She was selfish in the act that she did of dropping this cat off of nowhere, but then she was also selfish in trying to go back and get the cat because she felt guilty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And he's like, well,
You already did the thing.
yeah, fucking pick one.
Yeah. Yep.
Getting whiplash over here. But the cat wasn't there. She ran back and the cat was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so she eventually kind of breaks down and she's like, oh, Jesus God, we did belong to each other. He was mine.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's like,
She's finally having that
Girl.
revelation
yeah.
that
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, there's so many depths to it, but it's like you're causing your own exilation from
Mhm.
people because you're forcing people out of your life.
Yep.
And kitties.
Yep.
It could go on forever, not knowing what's yours until you've thrown it away. The mean reds, they're nothing. Basically, I think she recognizes at this moment, like, I could be living like this for the rest of my life where I just keep moving from place to place, never finding a place because I never really bother to try.
Yeah.
I never bother to look for it. And then by the time I realize I found it, it's already gone. I've thrown it away already.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's not anything left. And like, probably this has already happened to her several times.
It's a never-ending cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
she's realizing she's doing it to herself. I don't think she realized she was doing it to herself until this point.
no.
Yep.
I think she realized in that moment, like, and probably some of it was that there was somebody there to be like, wow, what a fucking bitch you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think some of it's that somebody finally said it to her to where she was like,
And someone that she
Oh.
actually respected too.
yes.
I love that he called her out.
I
And he
do
called
too.
her out several times, but like I was like, yes.
Yeah.
She is a bitch for leaving the cat.
Yeah.
She is.
That has no name.
Yeah. I was like, I fucking hate you for this.
Yeah, I
Yes.
know.
So mad.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of it, though, is I think it's that moment that kind of defines if there's going to be a turning point for Holly, this is going to be the turning point for Holly. And we don't really know.
It's not though.
I don't think so.
I don't think it is.
I don't think so.
Because
But if it was,
Yeah.
this would be that turning point where she kind of steps back for even a second and has a glimpse of reality and says, it's me.
Yep.
I'm the problem.
It's
It's
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So she does end up leaving.
Yes.
And there's all these like little newspaper clippings and things as tomato missing. Drug case actress believed gangland victim. Fleeing playgirl traced to Rio. So like no one knows where she's at. She's kind of on the run. There's all these tabloids. Someone else rents out her apartment. He does get a postcard from her.
Yes.
But in the spring, a postcard came. It was scribbled in pencil and signed with lipstick kiss. Brazil was beastly, but Buenos Aires is the best. Tiffany's, but almost. Oh, not Tiffany's, but almost. Am joined at the hip with divine senior. Love? Question mark. Think so. Anywho, am looking for somewhere to live. Signor, his wife, 7 brats. And will let you know a dress when I know it myself. So she's basically like with this married dude.
Yeah. Who has 7 children already.
And I'm like, girl, still not doing great.
Drama,
No.
girl. Drama,
love?
drama.
Maybe. No.
But he could never, like, there was no return address, so he couldn't really send her anything.
And then she signed it as 1000 tendresses, which means 1,000 tendernesses.
Oh.
Yes.
He sold 2 stories. That's kind of talking about what's going on. The trawlers got divorced. Surprise, surprise.
Countersuing each other.
Yes.
He was moving out of the brownstone because it was haunted. Haunted by memories.
Oh,
yeah.
True. But mostly I wanted to tell about her cat. I had kept my promise. I had found him. It took weeks of after-work roaming through those Spanish Harlem streets, and there were many false alarms. Flashes of tiger-striped fur that upon inspection were not him. But one day, one cold, sunshiny Sunday winter afternoon, it was. Flanked by potted plants and framed by clean lace curtains, he was seated in the window of a warm-looking room. I wondered what his name was, for I was certain he had one now, certain he'd arrived somewhere he'd belonged. African hut or whatever, I hope Holly has too.
I thought it was a good ending.
Yeah.
I did too.
I was like, I love how it was a happy ending, but not.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It was a happy ending for him. Who knows what happened to Holly?
Yeah.
It was a happy ending for the cat.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know if it was necessarily a happy ending for him. I feel
True.
like it was closure.
A realistic ending.
Yes. It was definitely a realistic ending.
Not happy.
I really liked it overall. Holly is a very interesting character. She's probably one of the most interesting characters that we've read in a way.
Yeah.
She's very irritating. Definitely grinds on your nerves in a way because she's just so phony.
Yeah. What I think is really interesting after watching the movie when I was in my 20s, then reading the book and then rewatching the movie, it's so funny because that character is like the most famous character of Audrey Hepburn. And like everybody knows that. But when if you've never read the book, you think of her as like, oh, this fashionista.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what people know her as, but that's not really what she is. And it's so
not
interesting.
even in the movie is she like that.
I
really.
know, but they made her more like that.
They did.
Because of how sensational that movie is. But it's so interesting that that's what people think of when that's completely not her character at all. But that's what she wants to be, which is interesting because that character is who she wants to be because of how we think of it. You know what I mean? It's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's like a weird relation in my mind between My Fair Lady and
I see
Breakfast at Tiffany's, because I feel like they took Eliza from My Fair Lady and she was like this country bumpkin who was uncultured and just had no idea about society, and then they tried to turn her into a fancy lady.
Yep.
But I feel like Holly was the same way she started, but she did it herself and succeeded in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Where Eliza still had a crazy accent, you know. Well, it was a British accent, not like some.
Well, I actually wanted to mention My Fair Lady during the movie thing just because of one little connection. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Do you guys want to go on to the movie adaptation?
Yes.
All right, Tim. So, it was released in 1961, directed by Blake Edwards, who is also known for writing and directing the Pink Panther movies. And also Victor and Victoria. I didn't know he did that. He did a lot of comedy stuff. My mom really liked Victor and Victoria. Shocking, it starred Audrey Hepburn, we all know that. And George Peppard as the narrator, who is named Paul in the movie. He gets a name!
Man, yeah, maybe we can name him anything at this point.
And like I said, Truman really wanted to play him, but they were like, no, you're not going to do that.
That just said.
Henry Mancini wrote the music. He was the one that wrote the Pink Panther theme and also a bunch of other. He's a very well-known composer. A few little facts about the composer, Henry Mancini. He wrote, because this is what Moon River, the song came from. Moon River Yeah. Mancini wrote Moon River specifically for Hepburn. He later said that while many versions of the song have been done, he feels that Audrey's was the best. The song has been recorded more than 500 times, which I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's a lot. But the song Moon River was written especially for Audrey because she had no training as a singer, which goes to My Fair Lady. Because infamously, she starred in that, but she was not the singer. They dubbed her voiceover in that.
That makes sense.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
That she has no musical training and that they wrote this song for her to sing, because Moon River is not an easy song to sing.
Well, that's funny that you say that, because he said the vocals were written to be sung in only one octave. So I guess it is kind of it could be a simple song. I don't know.
I think when she sings
it's
like
a little bit more
River.
Yeah.
It's not like
it's not as
orchestral. Yeah.
She doesn't really do the vibrato and the
I like the way that she sings it though.
Yeah, but it is definitely more like hearing someone in a coffee shop sing it rather than like the orchestral version.
Yeah.
But I will say I do love Audrey, but she was definitely miscast in My Fair Lady. Like there was no reason for her to do that.
Except that she's Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah, that's literally the only reason why.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Audrey's salary for the film was $750,000, which equivalates to $7.3 million in 2022.
I would shit down both legs to have like just
the 750,000.
The 750,000.
Yeah.
I would shit down both legs just for 100,000. Like what the fuck?
Yeah. Amber needs a diaper, y'all.
And a bucket.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
So that makes her the highest paid actress per film at that time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's a shit ton of money.
Yeah?
Yep. The famous black dress worn by Hepburn in the opening scene was sold for $807,000.
It made more than the fucking what she was paid?
Yeah. December 4th, 2006, making it the second most expensive piece of movie memorabilia ever sold. The first is the Best Picture Oscar from Gone with the Wind.
No doubt.
Yeah.
This is some horse shit.
What?
How much
stuff is? I know.
That's just because
it's iconic.
I'm like,
no one can fit in that dress.
I just want like a little bit for a house. And this dress is that much?
I also read something about how Audrey wanted to make her a lot more how she is in the book. Mm-hmm. And they were like, no, we got to make her more likable.
So they made her more likable.
Yeah.
So
she played it a lot more like the book. And they're like, nah, we can't do that. We got to make this a romantic comedy.
I feel like it probably wouldn't have made as much money either.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
Okay, now we're gonna get some. We're gonna get to some racist shit right now. Mm. So I know Sam doesn't know this because she didn't watch the movie, but Amber, yes,
I know what you're talking about already.
Okay, so
first scene,
huh?
The first scene, Mr. Yukina.
Yeah. So Mr. Yunioshi.
He's
supposed to be a Japanese character. He's played by a white man.
Oh no,
Mickey fucking Rooney.
No!
Which I had not watched this since I was younger, and whenever the credits were rolling and I saw Mr. Yunioshi was played by Mickey Rooney, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like,
it's
I remember
so racist.
I remembered it was kind of like the Siamese cats from Lady and the Tramp bad, but then when I realized, it's actually the character's played by a white man, I'm like, this is even worse.
Hold on, because I'm gonna show Sam the picture.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What?
They fucked up
They gave him dentures.
Do you
and
know?
Stuff.
Do you look up a picture of Mickey Rooney now? Though he's the whitest ass blonde motherfucker with blue eyes that you've ever seen. Like he should have never played him. It's pretty gross.
No, that's pretty fucking terrible.
Yeah. All right. So in the 2006 short documentary Breakfast at Tiffany's, The Making of a Classic, Blake Edwards, the director, said that when the movie was made, he didn't think about the implications of casting an actor of European heritage, Mickey Rooney, in a role as a Japanese person. But looking back, I wish I had never done it, and I would have given anything to be able to recast it. However, screenwriter George Axelrod had claimed before his death in 2003 that Edwards had refused all attempts by Audrey Hepburn and himself to persuade him to recast and had been delighted by Rooney's antics. Axelrod also said that Hepburn had even offered to reshoot all of her scenes with Mr. Yunioshi without payment if Edwards would have used a Japanese actor in the part, but that she had been turned down. So...
Okay, Audrey.
They tried, but...
I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
She was trying to be...
This ain't great.
Yeah, like this is not a good idea.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was very, very racist.
Okay, so now we're gonna get to a very white racist dude quote.
Oh, good.
In a 2008 interview, Mickey Rooney said he was heartbroken about the criticism he received for his role. Quote, Blake Edwards wanted me to do it because he was a comedy director. They hired me to do this, and we had fun doing it. Never in all more than 40 years after we made it, not one complaint. Every place I've gone in the world, people say, God, he was so funny. Asians and Chinese came up to me and say, Mickey, you were out of this world. Rooney also said that if he'd known people would be so offended, quote, I wouldn't have done it. Those that didn't like it, I forgive them. And God bless America. God bless the universe. God bless Japanese, Chinese, and Indians and all of them. And let's have peace.
And make America great again.
Yeah, he would have been a fucking
Those
trooper.
are really weird.
It's like, that is the worst fucking apology I've ever
There was no
heard.
apology.
No, he's like, I forgive the people that took offense to this.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Had I knew this was going to be such a big deal, I wouldn't have done it. But not because, like, he thought it was a bad idea.
Yeah,
Just
no.
because people were upset.
He fucking sucks.
That is
Also,
not an apology, sir.
I am in the middle of listening to like a 4-part episode on Mickey Rooney on a podcast, and he
Was problematic.
is a little Napoleon complex, let me tell you. Yeah. He
That's
is
0% surprise.
full of himself. All right, 300 felines were brought to an open casting call. The winning cat, Putney, appeared in location scenes shot in New York City while a trained movie feline was used during the West Coast shooting. There were at least 9 different cats used to play cat. One of the 9 cats used in this film is called Orangey. He appears in the scene where Holly hears news about her brother Fred and throws a tantrum. Orangey was a top animal actor and even won his 2nd Patsy Award, which is the animal equivalent to an Oscar.
Aww.
So there you go.
That's crazy. How did they find
Totally.
9 cats that looked exactly alike?
I know. Yeah.
They were like, close enough.
They're like,
Except that one's
they're
fucking
orange.
brown.
They're orange. It's fine.
yeah. So that's all the fun facts. There were so many. I was like, I need to keep this short, but that's all the fun facts. What did you think about the movie, Amber?
I really liked the movie. I mean, it was totally different from the book in a lot of ways, but I liked it. I also liked that the guy was a prostitute.
Yeah, no, that's okay, Sam. They made him like he was a writer, but he had this like rich woman that like fucking
he was
sugar
like
baby?
a gigolo.
yeah. I don't think he wanted to be. It just kind of happened, but like that, she was the only person that paid for him. But like, yeah, it was a
He
whole
was-
thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
He was a gigolo for like a rich lady.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I kind of liked that aspect.
yeah.
I bet she did too.
It seemed that she did. It
Yes.
seems so.
Yeah, and like we said, they made Holly a lot more digestible, like not so annoying. I also love the first scene where like he comes into her apartment or something and she's like, I gotta go to Sally Tomato. She's like, I gotta get ready. And it's like, you already have a face full of makeup. Like you don't look hungover at all.
But she was like, she was looking for like her shoes and stuff, and they were like all over the place. She's like, I'll just grab this dress from like over here on top of my closet door.
Yeah.
And like one of my shoes is under the bed and one of them is somewhere like she's very Slavic.
Yeah.
Which I think that was a kind of a scene in one of the books.
Yeah.
Was like, or
A little bit, yeah.
It was
One
a
of the
little
little
bit.
chapters. Yeah. You would actually, I think you would like the movie.
It's a really
It's very
cute movie.
classic, like Hollywood. But they do have that love connection. Like at the end, she ends up running back for the cat. They find the cat, and then they like kiss an alleyway as the rain's pouring down on them, and that's how it ends.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it also
she
ended
doesn't
my-
go to
my
Rio
play
or
experience
whatever.
of watching the rain.
Yeah.
Because at Tiffany's, he doesn't get her a St. Christopher's medal. He goes to Tiffany's, I think,
They go to Tiffany's and they're like, hey,
and he gets her a ring.
we're like, yeah, well, no. What happens was they go to Tiffany's and they're like, we want something, but we don't have much money.
Yeah.
And then he had found a ring from a Cracker Jack's box.
Yes.
And he's like, what if you engrave this? So they
It's so
paid for Tiffany's to
cute.
engrave this little Cracker Jack ring.
Which was so cute.
Yeah.
That was
Which
so cute.
Another fun fact, they had to go through like 500 Cracker boxes to find that ring because there's a bunch of different prizes. And they're like, we need the fucking ring.
Yeah.
And they had to go through like hundreds of them to get the actual ring.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Just buy a fucking ring and say it came out of a
They wanted it to be authentic.
Okay, but
That
it's not even in the
seems-
book.
Yeah, that seems
I
a
know, that
little
wasn't even in the book, but
excessive.
anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing was like the big party scene, like whenever everyone comes over. So to make that authentic, the director, Blake Edwards, like just had all his friends come over and they plied him with alcohol and everything. And we're like, hey, well, let's just film for like 12 hours. And you guys do whatever you want to make this zany thing. So everyone was like wasted during that scene.
That's funny.
Oh, and another thing with the Madge Wildwood thing, instead of being like, oh, she has an STD, she just got really wasted and like fell on her face.
Yeah,
Basically.
She kind of does in the book too.
she does. Timber.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, she just gets really trashed.
Mhm.
And then she says something about, let's you and me make stork, lucky balloon. And then she falls over.
And they just
Yeah.
put a pillow underneath her head.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the book. I don't know. I do think I like the book more than the movie, even though I watched the movie first. But they both have, I don't know.
I think I like them separately and
for different
differently.
reasons. Yeah.
Endearing in
Yes.
different ways.
Yes.
How many martinis would you give the book and the movie?
Oh,
0 martinis, because martinis are fucking gross.
that's fair.
Yeah. How about for writing style and storyline, I'm going to give it a 4.1
Yes.
out of 5.
4.1. That's exact.
Yes, 4.1 out of 5.
What about you?
I would say a 4. Mostly because it's. I feel like this is one that I was pleasantly surprised by,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually was able. It kept my attention enough that I kept reading. Like it. I didn't be like, oh, I'm sick of reading this.
Yeah, no.
Or, like,
I kind of blew through it. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I did
very
too.
easy read.
It is, and I do like his writing style, and I think he wrote very prettily.
Yes.
And I like that it doesn't
Daintily.
if you will.
Yes.
And I also I like that we never really know what's going on with the character.
Yeah.
Like it's,
The ambiguity.
Yes, it's kind
Yeah.
of nice because you're like,
It kind of
There's so
makes
many
you want
options.
more.
yes.
Yeah.
But I also enjoyed that it wasn't like a true happy ending.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I don't-
That's the part I hated the most about the book was like they had to make it this like romantic thing
You
where
mean
like
the movie?
oh yeah.
I was like, girl, what book
he
did
gets
you
the
read?
girl in the end, and
Yeah.
it's like, no, we don't need that. Like I get why they did it, but like we don't need that.
Yeah, it doesn't
Right.
always
Yeah.
have to be like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because in
Yeah.
real life, it's not.
It's not. No, this was way more realistic. The book was way more realistic than the
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah, so I definitely actually really enjoyed this, and I would love to read more of his
Me too.
writings.
Yeah. I would give it 4.5. The book 4.5. The movie 4 because of the racist undertones. And
fair.
it's just kind of I mean, it's of its time. It's kind of cheesy and unrealistic and over the top acting, but also that's why I like it.
So I did want to mention that the book has an audiobook with it. It's narrated by Michael C. Hall, and it's fucking amazing. He does voices, and it's beautiful. So if you like to listen to your books like I do, this was like my favorite just like fucking chef's kiss for audiobook. It was beautiful.
Nice.
So check that out. It's fun.
Dexter reading it himself.
Yes.
So yeah, remember to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Liquor&Literature Podcast. We also have an email, liquor&literaturePodcast@gmail.com, if you want to write us a little letter about suggestions for books or drink pairings or food pairings or whatever.
Well, tell us we're idiots.
Yeah, tell us we're idiots.
Or tell us we're geniuses.
Yes.
That too.
We
fine
like
with.
to hear that sometimes.
We'll accept that.
We know that we're probably
Give
not.
us ratings. Also, you can comment on Spotify, whatever you want. I don't care. Yeah. And until next time, keep the pages turning and the drinks flowing. Audio engineering, logo creation, and social media content was produced by Lauren Ranney with Ranney Film and Video. Stock music tracks have been provided by Adobe Stock. Find us on Facebook and Instagram at Liquor&Literature Podcast, where you can dive into more details about the books, authors, and movies we cover. All episodes can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, Google, YouTube, and other streaming services, as well as our website, liquor.literaturePodcast.podbean.com. Until next time, keep the pages turning and the drinks flowing.